Okay. So. What do you have? Is D&D beyond working today? I just want to make sure.
Yes.
After that one time.
Yeah. One disaster.
That's the problem with relying on. Which, of course, Margaret gets by just having an actual character sheet.
I like paper. It's my friend.
It is good.
Paper's just easier. Just need to take some screenshots in case next time. As long as you've got my stats.
That's true. As long as you got the stats, we should be okay. We can fake through everything else using Google. Alright. So. Sadie, that's not for you. I know. It really smells like it should be. Okay. So when last we left off, the group having found a new quest, really, kind of a long quest to create an item that, in case of emergency, should be able to re-banish a betrayer god. And looking for a way to get to one of their first stops, at least the first stop that you chose, going to Draconia, the ruins of Draconia. And you found quick passage across the Lucidian Ocean on an airship called the Diana that was captained by a shark man with a hammerhead's head, who I'm going to retcon and say that he had a pirate's accent. Because it's just more fun. And so
now you gotta do the accent.
I'm going to do the accent.
Not just a pirate, but through the mouth of a shark.
You know, it's got kind of a human-ish mouth with the shark's, like, you know, hammerhead eyes that come out like this. So I think it'll still work out. And also, you know, it's Fantasyland, so I'm going to do what I want. In any case, when at the very end of our last session, the airship had cast off, and you had seen the shore kind of fading away as you went into the clouds above the ocean, with at least a 3-4 day trip ahead of you across to the opposite shore. And that's where we're going to pick up. On this ship, it's a good-sized ship, not the largest ship you've ever seen, but for an airship, it's pretty good size. On the bottom, of course, it has the 3 crystal clusters providing lift. However, it seems that looking at it with the sail and everything, it actually provides itself with forward movement through the wind, like a traditional sailing ship. However, just looking at this, you must think to yourself, turning must be a bitch, because there's much less friction in the air than in the water. The rest of the ship, though, looks much like you'd expect a ship to look like. It's made of wood. Going below decks, there's hammocks that are set up in the rear of the ship for you, as well as in the fore of the ship for the crew. And there's many crates, barrels, boxes that are being shipped overseas. Much of what you see is very perishable items, this being the fastest way to bring things back and forth between the continents. The crew that you meet on the first day of travel, anyway, is of course the Commodore, the shark captain of this ship. The quartermaster, whose name is Clifton, who is this kind of skinnier half-orc, with kind of these small tusks, and generally he's the one that is controlling the ship from the quarter deck. You also meet the cook, one Luther Swithin, who is a turtle. The first many of you have ever seen. And he has an odd... Well, we'll get to his speech pattern later. You also meet a couple of the other crewmen. You meet one named Garnet, a human, just kind of quiet kind of guy, as well as the gunner, Rosanna, who is a half-elf. This ship does have one form of armament, and that is a medium-sized kind of ballista that is stationed on the front of the ship, and she is in charge of it. But yes.
Do any of the crew have, like, are they wearing a bright red shirt so I can know who to hide behind?
That can also
the
make...
disposable one.
You better watch those area effects.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. and Mrs. Howell, Skipper,
3-hour
Professor.
tour. This is more of a 4-day journey. But there are several crewmen that you are not immediately introduced to, as they are the night shift. There's about 3 of them, and they're currently below sleeping.
Well, Rose is going to go talk to Rosanna and look at all the armory stuff.
Okay. Making your way forward, you find Rosanna, the half-elf gunner, up there at the bow of the ship. She seems to be checking over some ropes and tensioning rods and things on this ballista, and looks up as you come over and says, "Yes, well, what can we do for you?"
I'm just curious about the workings up here, and I was wondering if you would show them to me.
Well, I mean, it's fairly simple. I see you have a bow. She points to the bow that you
Yeah.
carry on your back. It's much the same thing, just larger. And she gestures over to... There's a small stack that's tied down to the deck of these bolts that are about 3 feet long.
Mm-hmm.
They look like they're made of steel, and they're mostly sharp on one end. No feathers or anything, though. It looks like they just fly with weight. And as you look at the ballista, it looks a lot like a very large longbow with a thick bow piece with kind of a wooden shield in front of it with a hole through it that the bolt would travel through.
Okay, and can it turn back towards the deck?
Look at it. You would think it is on a rotating base.
Mhm.
And it doesn't look like there's any stoppers. It looks like it can rotate 360 degrees, as well as elevate up and down. Of course, at one point the deck will get in the way because it's not directly on the edge. And of course you wouldn't want to hit the masts or the sails or anything probably. But yeah, it's got a good range of movement.
Okay. And then I'm going to tell her goodbye and go climb up the sails again, because that was fun. I found out what I wanted to know.
Okay. So going through, climbing up the make an acrobatics check. Actually, no, not acrobatics check. Make an athletics check.
16 plus 7, so 17 in all.
Okay. I mean, it's easy enough to get up. You're not as swift as some of the other crewmen seem to be as they're kind of scurrying about, changing rigging and making sure that everything's okay. But you get up there fast enough with your elf nimbleness.
Okay. I'm
Yeah.
just going to hang out up here for a while.
Okay. Anyone else?
I was just watching how they manage the ship and stuff as best I can.
Okay.
Yeah, I think last time I went and checked out the engine room, or the engineering deck or something.
Yes, down below there's this being. It's not a large, not a small ship, but it's still not a large ship. There's one hold, well, 2 hold areas separated by a partition in the back where you are all being boarded. There is, or roomed. There is. You see bits of the 2 crystal clusters coming through the floor, with some enchantment and runes kind of around them, seeming to be holding their enchantment in place. And that's kind of the most you see in here. and you recognize bits of it.
Yeah, I'm sort of
Yeah.
just poking around in there.
Alright.
I'm like, oh, so that's how that goes. All right,
Yeah,
cool. Crystals.
crystals. And these are the same type of crystals you're looking for, just not quite as, not the right shape or size that you're looking for.
Probably don't want to go pulling these out of their sockets anyway.
You are currently several thousand feet above the ocean.
Yeah.
Yes. Was anybody afraid of heights?
Well, Quintus is
Not
not
yet.
doing great.
Yes, how is Quintus
He's
doing?
avoiding the deck, mostly.
Kind of staying below,
yeah.
wrapped in a hammock.
Yeah, no, it's not great. He would love to go ask, like, how's the security on this? Do you normally get attacked? But the second he thinks about going up, he's a little queasy.
All right.
So, Shay, could you go ask the Commodore? Oh God. If these are normally peaceful trips, or should we be on alert? I'm indisposed.
Shane goes like, okay. Just meanders away to go ask the couple.
Okay. Coming up the stairs onto the deck, you see a few crewmen doing some things in the rigging. You see Roland just kind of hanging out at the top, just kind of hanging off, just looking down. You know. You see the gunner up front seems to be doing something with the ballista, and looking up in back of you onto the quarterdeck, which is raised up above everything else. You see the Commodore along with Clifton, the quartermaster, that seem to be going over some charts there. As it's not an especially windy day, there's a breeze going, and they seem to be trying to find the fastest way to get up.
She'll just kind of like slowly approach. Like, oh, hi.
All right. Walking up, the Commodore turns and says, "Yes, what can we be doing for you?"
So my friend is currently indisposed, and we just really want to know, are these normally pretty quiet?
Well, I mean, quiet is a relative term now, isn't it?
Darn.
Some are very quiet. Others not so much. Depends on storms. Depends on creatures that we may run into. Usually not many of those. This is an established trading route. But still, this is the winter season, and there are more storms in the northern Lucidian Ocean.
Well, are they normally, she just kind of looks over at the ballista. Should we be worried?
Well, we have to defend ourselves.
Should
You
we
have no need to be
worried?
worried. Most pirates are sea-based, not air-based. And for that matter, most militaries are currently engaged in other exploits. With 2 wars going on, one on each continent, it's... Yes. We've had mostly the run of the skies lately.
Can I make an insight check on that?
Yeah, go ahead. I mean, you get kind of that sense of when somebody who's trying to enter their customer service mode is like just trying to allay your fears, but also you don't feel like he's really lying or misleading you by too much. Like maybe he's just overstating things slightly.
Like, thank you. Just gonna like start walking away to go tell Quintus.
All right. Anybody else like to do anything right now?
Grumps would like to take a nap wherever our quarters are.
Okay.
She has not been sleeping well, so she's gonna take a little nap.
So downstairs in the aft part of the ship is where your hammocks have been quickly set up for you. The hammock they gave you is the largest they had, and it can accommodate you just barely in the netting. but it's comfortable enough. I don't know if you've ever slept in a hammock, but it's not one of the ones with the like crossbars on the end, but one of the ones that kind of enfolds you as you get into it, and it's made to keep people in even during a storm, and so. But as you do bend down, you immediately feel a tapping on your shoulder, and looking over, you see the familiar face of your friend Riz, saying, and she immediately kind of says, "Oh gosh, what does she say? Are we having fun?
No, I'm having a nap.
Okay, well, try to keep an eye out.
Okay.
You're important to me, you know this, right?" And she kind of goes and lays down in a corner along some sacks of grain, like
Okay.
cuddles up. Quintus, you see Crom just kind of talking to herself a little bit before.
Yeah, usually.
Yes. It seems, from your limited experience of Crom, it seems that this is what Crom does, is kind of talk to herself. And, yes.
Maybe ask Chomsky about this later.
As the day wears on, though, you did take off in the, not early morning, but mid-morning. And after a while, you lose sight of any land whatsoever. Slowly, the sound of the seabirds kind of falls away. There's fewer and fewer of them, until all you can hear is a very distant sound occasionally of a whitecap on the ocean crashing below you, 1,000 or more feet below, and the sound of the wind and creaking of the rigging and mast.
Owen's gonna come back down, and
Okay.
then he's gonna go try to find Shay.
All right, easy enough to do. This isn't a big bone. Shay, where are you hiding out?
I'm down in the decks.
All right, down below decks, where you had stowed some of your things and everything, you find Shay along with a sleeping Crom
Okay.
Quintus.
and Quintus, not sleeping, but just a high-pitched, constant noise kind of coming from him.
Shay, I just wanted you to know that the gun does turn around and fire on the ship should we need it.
Perfect.
I don't like this conversation.
And you're just kind of watching everything that's
Well,
going on.
I am,
Like, I'm
but when they're not really doing
I
any
found one.
much,
Yeah.
and I said this last week, I am gonna be in my owl, mostly observing like what we're passing on the ground, but also in the air sometimes. When there's nothing to really look at on the ground.
So, interesting thing. As Casilda leaves your shoulder to kind of fly up and take a look around, you suddenly realize how fast this airship is going.
Okay.
That's what I was wondering.
Which is, as she flies up and suddenly shoots back, you realize that because of your height in the air and the fact that you're not above ground, and so it makes it hard, there's no, you're above water, and so there's no landmarks, you suddenly realize that this airship is going fast, and you were suddenly unsure if Casilda's going to be able to catch up with the airship as she's just left behind, even trying to fly with you.
Then I'll poof it back, and then poof it up on the mast.
Just hold on. Just poor Casilda, just up there, two claws, like digging into the mast, just kind of watching. And it's interesting because there does seem to be some breeze coming from behind, but with the counteraction of the forward motion, it seems like fairly still on deck. It's that relative kind of wind kind of phenomenon that takes place on the ship. But keeping an eye out, you don't. Once you get a few hours from land, you don't see a whole lot. There's the very occasional bird, looks like something like an albatross or something similar, riding air currents, not even flapping most of the time. fairly large, but nothing really of note.
Okay.
You do notice a storm that is off to your south, a pretty large storm that slowly seems to be moving to the northeast. It seems like it might intersect with you at some point, but not for a long while.
Okay.
Chomp, you do anything?
Yeah, I guess I was gonna ask somebody who looked like they would know around the engine room, or basically about the top speed, how fast we're moving, like
Okay.
what can you get this baby up to?
Let me see.
And if you can convert it into feet per 6 seconds, that would be great.
So, closer to.
Jesus.
There's
Let me do some math real quick.
special units, I call them chomps.
Chomps.
Yeah, that's 60 chomps.
How fast can you move in 6 seconds? It's canon. So, going back above decks, as kind of the afternoon wears on and the sun is well behind you, not setting yet, but starting to cast some longer shadows, you notice somebody that you hadn't seen before, and you assume that this is probably one of the people who was set to night watch, a halfling that you haven't been introduced to yet. But they seem to be going around and checking on all manner of knots and checking with the crew and just kind of going around. They just seem to have an air about them that they're in charge of something. As it seems that the captain or the commodore has gone to his cabin, and the quartermaster is busy steering the ship, I suppose. So either way, there's the quartermaster, and then there seems to be this halfling that seems to be in charge of something walking around. So you could talk to either
What's
one.
the quartermaster doing?
Quartermaster is up. Like, there are 2 sets of stairs on either side that go up to the quarterdeck at
Right.
the aft of the ship, and he seems to be busy at the wheel steering the ship. This wheel looks a lot like other helms on what you would a regular sailing ship. However, the mechanism below it immediately goes up into pulleys and ropes that go up and seem to be able to turn the sail quite a bit using a series of pulleys to change the way the wind is blowing on the ship and change the direction of the ship.
Yeah, I'm gonna go up and talk to him.
Okay.
Just kind of walk up there and be like, it's quite the vessel you got here.
Alright, and Clifton, the quartermaster, looks over at you. He's the half-orc, as I was saying. He's got kind of this light green skin and this shaved head with just a little bit of stubble on it. And he turns and says, "Oh yes, it works for us, yeah?
We seem to be making pretty good time. What's our average speed? How fast does this thing usually go?"
I mean, we're not going to be outrunning a dragon anytime soon, but nearly.
Nearly outrun a dragon. Okay.
Nearly. Through some conversation, you get the idea that it could probably go about 90 feet a turn. So it's fairly fast. But through a little bit more conversation, you also learn that it takes some time to turn, and it cannot turn immediately in an emergency kind of situation.
Right.
As he describes to you a run-in with a wyvern they had one time, and kind of points over to some newer-looking boards along the quarterdeck where something has obviously been replaced and not aged the same as the rest of the ship.
Gotta remember not to Not to tell Quintus about that.
All right. As evening comes on, you suddenly hear a dinging of some type of bell or something, and somebody kind of pokes their head below. You see one of the crewmen say, "Yes, it's time for supper." And they call you all above decks.
Real fast.
Real fast.
Real fast.
All right.
I'm dragging you.
Yeah, I'll follow behind reluctantly.
All right. Some of you immediately rising above the deck. Some of you dragging your feet. I mean, it's easier somewhat aboard an airship as it doesn't rock to and fro constantly. As
I just don't want to
Wood
look
on
over
water.
the side and not see land.
coming up on deck, you see a deck a little bit more than 20 feet wide with 3-ish foot railings on either side. If you stay in the exact middle of the ship, which is near where you come out onto the deck, you can't see too much that you're very high in the air.
All right, there we are.
All right.
Just like obsessively walking this line if the food is like too far away. Ooh.
And as you come up onto deck, Crom first, you see that there's more people than you had been introduced to yet. A halfling that you hadn't seen before, and 2 humans that you hadn't seen before, one of whom you immediately recognize.
Uh-oh.
Is it that guy?
It's
Is that guy
you,
Thomas?
you see one
God damn it, Thomas.
Thomas Shots, who you had previously been in a push-up contest with, who had been part of something to do with Myriad,
And then some.
and then some.
And this other stuff happened.
And the rest of you that have been here for a while anyway, also see this as you come above decks. The 2 of you, as you come above decks, see a nice group of people, and everyone else suddenly go tense.
Yes, I know it is very frightening being above the land like this. But
He has
just
not
stay
seen
in the
it.
middle and it's not too bad.
He has not noticed all of you yet.
Did you notice Crom?
He hasn't noticed any. He seems to be talking to the quartermaster right now. They're deep in conversation as he kind of leans over, and the half orc leans kind of towards him.
So we obviously start like
Spells.
clamoring and grabbing each other. I'm like,
I'm going to
everybody.
him.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
so am I.
Oh,
I
God.
Think, but that's what I said, Crom. I think we
Okay.
should go talk to
So
him.
everybody back down.
I forgot what happened with him, but I hate him.
I think Crom, we should dream up some way
Pretty sure
to
we hate him.
blackmail him into not telling us telling people about us. Maybe one of each us on each side.
I forgot where we left
we
him.
go make
Yes.
make some plans below deck, or
So
like,
as a
not go
recap-
walk over there.
Thomas Schatz, who you first met in a bar in Stillben, you had beat him. You thought anyway, above board in a push-up contest. Although someone might have cast Tasha's hideous laughter on him. And then it turned out he was he was first mate on the ship with the ogre captain that you had tried to infiltrate. And then it had turned out that he had watched you in your fight in the warehouse later that night. And he was the reason that you got cornered by 50-some-odd crossbowmen and all that. And then he had also shown up in Iman as it seemed a trusted advisor of the Prince Taldore, who was trying to get his seat back from the council. And that was where you kind of left things off, at a kind of a standoff, because you hadn't trusted him necessarily at that point, but and he kept showing up,
And we kept not killing him.
and you kept
No.
not killing him.
Yeah.
But now you're on an airship with
Yeah,
about
toss him over.
about a dozen pirates, it seems like, maybe.
It's on the night shift.
1,000, and it seems like he's on the night shift.
He's coincidentally on the night shift on an airship. I'm just saying. any edges here.
I'm saying we don't throw them over because we don't want to start a riot, but maybe
Maybe he just
As
Little
you
white whale.
hesitate kind of at the edge of the stairs that come up, the Commodore looks over and says, "Yar, what you doing there? Come over. We have a great stew tonight."
thank you. We will, but
If I wasn't so hungry, I would go over there. and
Luther's
talk
made a great one.
to them. I'm pretty hungry.
It's made with seagull. That's the secret ingredient.
Yeah. I'll go eat. But then I'm gonna kill him.
we can't kill them.
I can't kill him on an empty stomach.
Yeah. But maybe we can put the fear of God into them.
Are you saying this still huddled around, or are
Yeah,
you walking
yes,
over?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're just planning.
Okay. Just be aware that the more you stand and plan, the more the crew is going to be like, "What's going on?"
Yeah.
I mean, like, Quintus is trying to get this over with, get his bowl of stew and get back down below as quickly as possible.
And also, you have no context. Pretty
Yeah,
much, they
so-
just
Oh,
started
yeah.
talking
So
about,
we're just, like,
do we kill
strolling
him?
out, like,
They just started about
Yeah.
possibly killing somebody, and you're like, what?
I'm just gonna
It's
like
just
drag
normal.
you forward to go get the stew.
Yeah, I think we should probably go get stew first because you're hungry and we don't want to be standing here alone.
Yes.
Can't rage on an empty stomach.
Nope.
I mean, you can.
I mean, that'll just make you hangry.
It's more of a
Exhaustion.
Yeah,
hanger
but
kind
you're
of
not
thing.
you.
So
Grab a message.
Thomas is on deck. Right?
he seems, and they seem to have rolled out what looks like kind of a fold-up wooden table, a long wooden table that looks like it's got some buckles on it that it can stow and lash to the deck pretty easily. But they have a family meal, it looks like, every night. Even the quartermaster has lashed the wheel in place, and they seem to be keeping a pretty straight course at the moment. And they're all gathered around. Already, some of them eating. There's a little bit of mead that has come out. They're passing around a large kind of growler of it, I guess, jug.
Is the cook up serving or is he still in the kitchen?
You see at the end of the table a strange sight of what looks like a humanoid turtle just kind of moving, faster than you think a turtle would actually. Kind of serving stuff out of a pot. He's got a, white chef's apron on, and it seems like nothing else. It's just, that's what he's got. He has a little pipe in his mouth and just seems to be serving things into bowls as they pass them down.
Okay. I'm gonna go over to him and tell him that I heard there was seagull in this meal, and that's really neat. How much of their own food do they capture while they're on board?
Walking up, I'm assuming you introduce yourself, or you
Yes,
just
of
yeah. Well, because you already met him actually, but he says, "Oh yeah, it's very good to see you. Yes, we try to catch most of whatever we can do on this ship. It's we try to be eco-friendly, as they say. Also, it cuts down on costs. It is, you can imagine, the enchantments they cost a lot. I do not have a very big budget to be feeding all these people on. For that matter, even the gold you paid doesn't really. None of it comes into my coffers, as it were, and we've had to stretch a little bit. So, yes.
How do you catch the food?
Oh, snails. In port, we will fish sometimes. We have quite a lot of salted fish. In fact, that's mostly what you're going to be eating over the next week.
Okay, well, the stew is wonderful.
Well, thank you. Have you tasted it yet? Do you actually know if the stew's wonderful?
I can smell it, and now I'm gonna go get a bowl.
I mean, it does, as you smell. Actually, roll a perception check real quick.
Ooh. 4.
All right, it smells like it's stew.
I
And
knew
you're
about
fairly
it.
hungry. You haven't eaten for most of today, so.
It smells like stew.
And as he the rest of you are coming up and he passes bowls to you, there are seats that have been, some stools and some crates that have been pulled up, some empty crates, for you to sit on, as they're not used to having passengers on the ship, it looks like. The fact that all of you are here is a little bit of a surprise to them, as if you remember, the cost of $100 gold a head is a bit, it's fairly high for passage. But it's an airship, they have their costs. Sitting down, those of you who want to eat some stew right away, it's a fairly good stew considering it's made from sky rat. Because that's what seagulls are, and I hate them.
Yes.
In any case, which is why I made them die. It's, it might be slightly oversalted, you think, but there's some meat in it, a good amount of what looks like it's probably like maybe turnip and some carrot, a lot of root vegetables, stuff that keeps for a long time if you hang it somewhere. But nice enough, a little bit thick. It'll stick to your ribs, as they say. And there is being passed around a large jug of mead, which is some pretty strong but also sweet stuff as you taste a little bit in a cup. Most of them, even for sailors, are kind of just putting a small pour into their cups and then passing it along. But still, this is included, it's the included fare on your cruise. So.
Yeah. Cool.
As you sit down, Thomas does look over and kind of does a double take, looking at the four of you anyway, as he only vaguely would recognize.
I know, I'm gonna wave to him.
He would vaguely recognize Salai and doesn't at all recognize the two of you.
Oh, I'm down below. Doesn't see
Yeah,
me.
he grabbed his food and ran.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you've already gone downstairs.
Yeah, I'm still
Yeah, I'm
up
like
there.
hastily saying a prayer to the Raven Queen to bless our fates as we travel forward.
What's his order? He's like,
Yeah.
just heading down.
Yeah, I'm still up at least.
But
I
you're
guess we just kind of like raise a glass to him. And when I see him notice.
You're
yes.
talking to Thomas, right?
Yes.
Okay. The second I notice that he notices one of us, casting detect thoughts.
Okay. So you're not pushing it, it's just the cursory
Yes.
detect thoughts? So you get a slight feeling of panic and then extreme curiosity. Like he did not expect you to be here.
Mm-hmm.
This seems to be happenstance from your kind of thought reading there. But as you do this and you all are kind of waving, and he kind of waves back at you from the other end of the table, the Commodore says, "Oh yes, you have not been meeting the rest of our crew. This is my first mate, Thomas." And he kind of gestures over at Thomas. He only started working with us a couple months ago, but seems like a nice fellow.
I'm gonna say Taldore forever, Thomas.
Yes, Thomas.
He
so
raises his glass and drinks. The Commodore goes on and says, "And this is our bosun, in charge of the crew, as well as engineering, as it were. He knows a bit of the enchantment to keep up the crystals, but it's Perry." And he gestures over at this little halfling that you had seen before, who also raises his glass to you. And then there's Ken. He gestures over to an elf who seems to be just sitting back, occasionally drinking, not eating at the moment. Who seems to have one of his ears, the long pointed end of it seems to have been cut off on the right side. And he also has a scar across his right cheek. It looks like something must have raked him across the face at one point. But he doesn't look happy in general at anyone. He just seems to be kind of drinking and watching. Yes, Ken. Sure. And glad you all are here. And goes back to eating. What were you gonna? You were gonna talk to Thomas.
Yeah, I was good. Now I'm really interested in talking to the other guy, but now I'm torn. Well, I'll talk to the bosun in a minute. But first of all, Thomas, that's really interesting. So what did you do before you became first mate on this ship? Pray tell.
Well, you know, I was on a couple different crews. I was on a ship before this, as well as I was doing some consulting before that. But I decided to get back to my first love, which is the sea, as it were. And he kind of
Well,
nods
it's
at you.
great to have an experienced first mate. I'm sure the captain is happy to have you.
Indeed.
Yep.
The conversation at the table kind of gets a little quiet for a moment. Just like, what? At which point, the Clifton, the quartermaster, goes, "Hey, laddies, we're going to port soon. Who's happy about that?" And several of them, obviously who have been there before, cheer half-heartedly, and a little bit of conversation pipes up again. The Commodore, who is near your party, kind of leans over to you and says, "And what do that be about?"
I'm just, interested in, stories.
As he leans in towards you, you notice that his eye closest to you, like on the hammerhead, looks to you, and the other eye goes and looks at Thomas and looks back to you. It's kind of disconcerting.
It's weird, yeah.
Kind of chameleon-like almost. Also, hard to make eye contact. Because you can only make, like, eye contact.
I don't know where
Not
I'm
eyes
talking to
contact.
this guy.
You try, you just blur.
You get the sense that maybe that's why he's gotten so far in life. He just throws people off. All right, but as the meal goes on, you do find some good conversation. You do get into some conversation with the bosun if you'd like.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
halfling,
I'm gonna pick his brain about all manner of mechanical, magical doings, goings on.
All right.
So so what'd you say he's in? What do I know about him? He was introduced as the.
He was introduced as the bosun, and as in charge of the crew in general. Like he's kind of the manager, and as well as engineering, and that he knows some enchantments to keep the crystals going. Yeah. That's about it.
So I asked him about. Where did you learn to do all this? You go to bosun school somewhere around here?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just been. I grew up with this down over on in Isilra, and it was fine. But I got out here eventually, and just been traveling. That's kind of what I like to do. I'm good with the enchantments and good with people, and it's nice. Is there anything you'd like to know? You seem to be really interested in how this ship works. Clifton was telling me earlier you were asking about how fast this baby could go.
Yeah. I'm a bit of a, I don't know what you would call it, a tinkerer in arcano-mechanical devices.
All right, that's very much this. The Diana is an example of that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an impressive piece of work, craftsmanship. Never imagined building something this large, but
I mean, really, it was originally not actually a skyship. I don't know if anybody's told you that, but originally this was a sailing ship. As you can see in looking below earlier, you could see that when they were docked, they had kind of these supports put up because there was an actual keel along the bottom, as opposed to a lot of skyships which are flat along the bottom.
it's got a conversion kit.
It was originally many of the Commodore ships are actually well, they're sailing ships. This is one of only 2 in the fleet that is one of our sky ships, and so we try to do pretty good with it. The other one that was purpose built. This one we did a conversion on, like you said, and the propulsion on it is almost entirely wind. We can add a little bit with the crystals, but it's pretty hard, you know.
Crystals mainly for lift.
Mainly,
Yes, you
it
can-
keeps us aloft, as it were, and you know, we have a good time with it. That's why I'm on the ship. I'm actually the specialist for these kind of things.
Where would you procure these crystals for a conversion like this?
There's mines in a few places, mostly in Wildmount. Of course, if you don't mind going to the middle of nowhere, there's Draconia, which, I mean, 20 years ago that was the place to go, I hear, but that's before my time, if you get my meaning. And looking at him, he's definitely, he must be in his mid-20s. Like, it's surprising. He seems to think he knows as much as he knows. But, yeah. But yeah, Draconia. That's probably the place to go for them. There's a couple mines around Trostenwald in the center of the Empire, but most of those are tapped out at this point, being used for stuff for the war. I wouldn't expect any to be available on the market. If you're looking, are you looking to build a skyship, by the way?
Maybe maybe one day, but it's a pretty big goal. I
Professional curiosity, then.
yeah,
That's good.
I love learning new things, and you know, I figured I'd start small, but learning more about the crystals and maybe acquiring a couple of small ones would be, or, you know, just like one giant one. I don't know. It's just
I mean, I can tell you all about them if you like. A lot of people think that they come just floating in the air, but they don't. You actually have to mine them from inside the ground, and then they have to be enchanted, actually. Yeah?
okay. So they
They just take the enchantment better than most other constructs. It's something about the crystalline structure. I've never... You'd have to ask about... you'd have to ask somebody who knew more than me about the actual structure of them. But they definitely take the enchantments pretty well.
you know, crystal lattice. Yeah, I see that.
But yeah, they're great. They get us going places fast. What brings you to Port Zoom,
Can Shay pipe up and well, actually,
You can pipe in at any, because this is all
Yeah, probably just
referenced-
awkwardly as soon as we get
And-
off.
Yeah, it's like
As soon as we get off the topic of like you know,
Yeah.
engineering and stuff, I'm just like,
we're gonna go see my dad.
Oh yeah, your family's in Port Zoom?
Yeah.
That's nice, eh? It's a nice
Yeah.
little place. You know, it's like... I've always loved me some oranges from Port Zoom. They grow
They
a lot
are
of them there.
delicious.
And the steel, oh my gosh, I've
Mm.
never had... Yeah, just the...
Delicious.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not
This-
so much...
Zoom steel.
He looks at you like...
It's like
Well, I understand that I was kind of shifting conversational threads there a little bit
it's
fast, but
it needs a chuchu, you know.
okay. He kind of looks at all of it.
What would it be to tell if he's just trying to try to determine it? I want an insight
Okay.
on whether he's trying to do insight.
You're trying to get an insight on whether this
Yeah,
halfling is
he's-
trying to do it.
he's
Okay, yeah,
like-
just roll an insight.
I wasn't sure exactly what the
Just
role was.
seeing what he's trying to figure out from you.
Well, from her,
From her.
not very good. For
I mean, he just
he knows a lot about oranges in that Zoom place.
He seems to be honestly interested and seems to have some knowledge of Port Zoom. You've never been to Port Zoom.
Mhm.
You've heard bits about it, maybe.
They do have some
That
great
it's-
oranges.
It's famous. It's famous for its mild climate as well as its blacksmiths. Is what it's very famous for. Yeah, but past that, you don't know a whole lot. So what he's saying tracks with what you know. Yeah. All right. Anybody else during this time? Thomas, this all And by the way, it has been still talking to the quartermaster, but every once in a while looking back at the group of you, just with a frown kind of slightly on his face.
Crown, go easy on the mead. Robot. The mead is very good. Yeah. Just,
What? What?
I don't want to cause a scene at dinner.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Let's keep it that way then.
Crom, as he questioned you on this, Riz from over at your side says, I don't know what you mean, he seems perfectly nice to me. All right.
You and Thomas have a thing for a second.
What's happening?
No.
Okay, remember when you had his arm around, you had your arm around him after we beat him up and we were
Yeah.
dragging him?
Yeah, that's right. So, as kind of, hey,
Ah.
what's going on?
I'm okay.
How was
Not
that?
interrupted. Dog everywhere.
No, they're in the sky. They're on a sky ship.
Oh.
In preparation.
We're on a sky cruise.
Oh,
All you can drink mead.
All you can drink
All
mead
inclusive.
and seagull stew.
Yum.
Cooked by a giant turtle.
Chomp was trying to come up with a mock turtle soup pun, but couldn't.
No?
No.
so,
There's
Wait,
Mock
You
turtle.
saw him sitting there like, I know it's there. I know it's there somewhere. Ah, forget it.
Plus, that'd be really rude. You don't want to start a fight. Don't talk about eating.
Mock turtle soup.
It looks like it's
It's
in
just
any,
like
in just any
sheep
cup.
brains and stuff.
My dad gave me that cup. I know it's this in the cup. Yeah.
As the meal goes on, it kind of finishes up. Several of the crew kind of go off. Some of them start going forward, and looks like they're smoking maybe, and singing some songs. Several others go below decks. Thomas goes up to the quarterdeck and seems to take over steering duties, as well as one of the other night crew, well, Ken, the silent kind of dour-looking elf, climbs into the rigging and seems to be on lookout. Slowly it quiets down a bit, and you all eventually are left with yourselves at the fold-out table on the deck.
Is there anybody near enough to hear us talking?
Make a perception check. Just to see.
Can I talk to you guys under the table for a moment?
15.
No, it's the same one. 15?
Yeah.
I mean, you're pretty sure. It seems like the few that are smoking forward on the forward deck are probably too far away to hear you. They're a good 30 feet away, maybe 40. And everybody else seems to have gone below deck.
I think we should
You're
share
probably
what
safe.
we've learned.
All right, so we need to see if Thomas is still working with. Who was he working with? He was
The
with
Myriad.
The Myriad, yeah,
Yeah.
the crime people doing the crimes.
Yeah.
Let's not throw him off the side right now. Just at least not
Yeah.
Purposely?
right out of the gate.
Because we don't like him, but we don't necessarily want to kill him, right?
It's like it's a good thing.
That's up to
Right.
you.
Like,
I don't know.
all
Do
kinds of
we
ways
want
to throw
to
'em
kill
off,
him?
Not right
That's
now
what I'm thinking
because
about.
there are people on deck, and it seems like we're gonna have, we probably need to leave them alive for at least the first leg.
We kind of need to get to our destination also.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I've checked. The gun will come around and face the deck should something happen, and we have a provision of food.
The seagulls. You mean
No,
the
the
there's-
seagull.
There's salted fish.
Oh yeah.
and
all right.
root vegetables below. And what did you learn about the steering?
It's a beach.
Yeah. It's oh yeah. So we go real fast, but pretty straight. Turning's difficult. Crystals make ship fly.
Chompy seems a little overwhelmed.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Very much. Check out this crystal.
All right.
Get my hands on some. fly
So are we
crystals.
afraid that Thomas will say something? And, I mean, he doesn't really have anything against us, right? I mean, like,
He
anything
definitely-
on us, like, damning.
Well, I mean, you did torture him at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He deserved it.
You captured and tortured him at one point. He did then rat you out and make sure that you were surrounded, and then he also showed up in another weird situation in Amman and the sewers. So yeah, I mean that's up to you.
The omniscient narrator reminds you of what you've forgotten.
Yeah, it's just memories. It's been a while.
I'd say we just keep a really good, close look on Thomas. And
I mean, he's by himself though, right?
Right now, up on the
quarterdeck.
quarterdeck, he's overseeing the helm, and as the night crew is on now, there's fewer and fewer people on deck. Just the few that aren't on the night crew smoking forward, and then him, and then another one up in the rigging seems to be on night crew right now.
So not necessarily concerned that he is going to snitch on us about something, but he might be up to something. Is that what we're concerned with him about? Y'all? Guys?
I think we're concerned
If I
with
was
his
there,
Because
I'd
he's
speak up.
he's not a good guy. And we might be concerned what his intentions are.
He's
Like,
always-
why is he on this ship?
Yeah, he's always seemed just more of like a henchman,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
you know, maybe not that low, but it was just his association with the Myriad, and he didn't really seem to have like plans of his own. So like if he's not a member of the Myriad anymore, he might not be so inclined to.
Away.
So just ask
He
him.
might.
I don't know if
That's
just
easy,
get
right?
out of it.
He'll totally tell you the truth.
Yeah, just ask him.
I mean, he may have completely
Let's torture him
forgotten
again.
about the torture and the. Let's just
Lock him in a
live
small,
by
dirty
guns.
room and then like poke him with knives. So yeah, there's that.
I'm
I mean, it
gonna
worked.
ask Riz what she thinks they should do.
All right.
What do you think about this guy?
I mean, we really either have to just kill him outright, or we would have to beg for forget. We would have to get him to. We would have to apologize.
Or we can make up something and tell, or try to find some stuff and tell the Commodore to get him out of our
As
way.
they're saying this, you look over to Riz and ask her, and she seems to be chewing on a corn cob, which you're not sure where she got it. But looks up at you and says, "I don't know. I like him, but you know, if you want to kill him, that's fine with me."
Okay,
Okay, what?
whatever.
What were you saying? Okay, to?
Whatever you guys said.
Oh.
You're like thinking back
I'll
to the
wait.
last question that would apply to in 5 minutes.
We won't kill him right now. We'll play it by ear.
So he's by himself right now. So
But
Make
there's
no
somebody on the
promises.
watch.
right, but I feel like if
We'll sit on it.
if one or two of us, if a small number of us went
Yeah.
over there, he's
Yeah.
alone. We could
But I mean, we don't have any reason to right now.
talk to him.
Or fuck with him. Like,
I mean, no, I was just talking about like making contact with him, not in front of everybody.
do we want to?
Probably a good idea.
I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. I'm not good at the talking to the. I'll just end up torturing, so I'm gonna just chill right here.
What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Just gonna talk to him?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go talk to him. Alright, Crom, you just wanna like sit here at the table by yourself, or are you gonna go? We're gonna go over there and talk
I'm
to
not
him.
by myself. My friend is here with me. I'm fine.
Let's see.
I'm fine. Y'all go ahead.
Alright, we'll be right back. Let's go.
All right.
We're gonna.
Okay, who's going to talk? Because you've gone below,
Yeah. So I haven't.
I
heard
was just
any of
listening
this.
in.
and you have only a vague idea of what's going on.
Yeah,
We got history with this guy.
but I certainly don't like what you're saying.
It's not great history, I'll admit.
It sounds like you tortured them.
It
Yeah.
was for
It
the
out
greater
for us.
good. It was for the greater good.
You know, that seems like
For the
a
greater
very
good.
common thing that you
Great
keep saying.
good.
I'm gonna go down and tell Clintus
Okay.
what I have heard.
The other three of you, strangely, so I've been very
Mm-hmm.
quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Says, you know what? I'm going to go down and get some sleep. And gets out of the way. But the three of you are going to go up and talk to Thomas. You're going, or where are you
Yeah, I'll
going?
go.
All right.
I'm not gonna talk to him. I'm gonna stare at him.
I was about to
without
say.
blinking.
I was about to say, sir, this is like just on the edge of the shadows, just like looking really.
No, I want him to see me.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
just,
behind you guys, but I'm
but
like,
yeah, but kind of like just.
I don't even. I'm gonna try
Just
to never
arms
break.
crossed.
Just look straight at him,
Doing the eye thing.
and then if he says something, well, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
So, yeah, we'll go
Coming
there.
up onto the quarterdeck, there's two sets of stairs that go up. You go up the left one, let's say. And you come up there to Thomas, who, as you come up, has been looking at the charts, but looks over at you and
Like,
is
he's
frowning
calm
as you
on
go
either
up the
side of him.
stairs. These steep stairs that kind of rise up real quick. The three of you make it up. You're on Thomas's right side. What do you ask him?
So Thomas, long time no see. What happened to your Taldore gig?
Well, I mean, he's on the council now, so I can't exactly. My work was done. I was no longer needed.
So, you got fired?
Well, not so much as. Well, thanks to, I hear from several sources, all of you may have killed off my future employment in that city. As I had been working for a couple different organizations, both of which were run by a certain gentleman I believe you knew.
Yep, we did.
In any case, what are y'all doing here?
So does that mean you're out of that whole line of work? Are you're
I'm up for any type of work right now. I'm just trying to make my way through the world.
yeah, in this economy you gotta be flexible.
Yeah. He does not
Dude.
seem keen to talk with you right
Yeah.
now.
Which is totally understandable.
I'm just glad you didn't bring the big one up here with you. She kind of freaks me out.
She freaks many people out.
Yeah.
So where do we go from here, Thomas?
Yeah, it sounds like
You know what? It sounds like we're going to Port Zoom. And after that, wherever you will. I want nothing to do with it.
All right. That sounds good.
good. Yeah, because the big one can come up here anytime.
He looks at you with a look of total incomprehension.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So we have a deal.
And then suddenly catches on. It's like, oh, yes. Okay.
So
But
Thomas,
it
we
doesn't
have a
have to go
deal.
to that.
What is this deal?
We go to Port Zoom, all as a friendly family.
I mean, I'm not going to pretend to be friendly with y'all, but I'm not going to bother you.
Then we won't have to bother you. So, sounds to me like we have a deal.
Have a good night, sir.
He takes a deep breath. Night.
A little mental
Sweet.
weirdness. I let them know that they don't speak for me.
He just goes.
I would
kinda
like
under his breath.
to roll an insight to see if all of that was true.
Yeah,
or
go
if
ahead.
You know, he's sincere about his.
Roll an insight.
Exact same thing I can roll back.
I've got a +8 to insight.
I rolled a 7.
Well,
Oh, you know.
you get the sense that he was mostly telling the truth. But underlying that, you did get a little bit of a sense that he still holds a grudge against y'all.
You did torture him.
Yeah, I feel like that.
You didn't
was
really
some-
bring that up.
Yeah, and I feel like he was using some euphemistic language there about how it's just like talking about the way things happened that were like totally our fault, and how he talked about them in just sort of a neutral. This is what happened, and this is what I'm doing now.
So I'm gonna go up and hang out with the sailors that are singing and drink at the front of the ship, just for a little bit.
All right.
All right, well, don't stay out too late.
Oh, storm.
Going up to the front of the ship, you find Sherman, one of the human crewmen, as well as one you haven't seen before, who everybody just keeps calling Fish, who is a little bit familiar to you, not exactly in person, but in form, and that he's an Aarakocra.
Okay.
And everybody just calls him Fish, and he doesn't seem to speak a lot, but he's definitely drinking and smoking. And that's the two that are hanging up near the ballista at the front of the ship. As you hear a little bit of thunder, kind of, and you see some lightning flashes off to the southeast of you.
So, does one of you have a smoke?
Sherman, who's human, I think. Yes, says, "Oh yes, we got some smokes, yeah," and hands you this hand-rolled cigarette. Well, hand-rolled something anyway.
What's in it?
You know, some spice. Do you spice?
I will.
All right.
So I'm gonna light it up. Spice.
So roll.
Spice is the spice of life.
You're gonna light it up, and you're gonna take a. So there's a. Roll a history check real quick.
No, yeah, 14.
14. So you are familiar with the term spice, as it's used for a couple different things. One of which is sometimes there's a cooking spice that's referred to called fusaka, which is referred to as spice occasionally in cooking circles. But more relevant to what these people are probably doing
Probably not that one.
Yeah.
is sood is sometimes referred to as spice. And that seems to be, like, as you take it in and kind of sniff it for a second, that seems to be, there's something else mixed with it, but that seems to be at least part of what these people are smoking. It's like a watered down version of soup.
Okay.
You take a hit?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you've had to pierce that, it's not gonna be the same. I said if you've had to pierce stuff, it's not gonna be
It's not the same. Like, as you breathe in and breathe down, you feel that, because you've had this before, I
I don't know
believe.
if I ever tried.
Have you ever tried? Okay, maybe you haven't. Because Crom definitely had. Several of you
Dad
had,
took
I
all of
think.
theirs.
Yeah, you definitely took more than once. You feel this, just this odd sensation of just your brain, like part of it you never knew existed suddenly lights up a little bit, and everything gets a little bit more
Awesome.
like the contrast is just turned up on everything. Roll a d100.
Oh no.
I do suit a little bit different than they do.
54.
Okay, good to know. You suddenly feel like
You can fly.
like nothing, like nothing can touch you. Like especially something evil.
This is great stuff.
Like, it's definitely giving you this euphoric kind of, yeah.
I can see why y'all like this.
All right. So, the rest of you, everybody else going to bed, or Crom, what are you doing? You were hanging out with Riz down on the at the table still.
Did you go back? Would I have seen you go back to down below?
Well, I mean, we walked away from, we walked down from the quarter deck from talking to Thomas, and, I guess we would have, like, if I saw you at the table, I would have been like,
Yeah.
hey, we just talked to Thomas. We're just going to kind of leave each other alone.
And we go down below. Is that where everybody's chilling?
Well, there's a group of spice heads up on the deck. Everybody else seems to be.
Okay.
I mean, you can go over there and smoke if you want.
No,
Well,
I'm not.
that's, you're a grown woman. You can do what you want.
That's not a good idea. Okay, so I'm gonna go back below the deck. Where my hammock is.
Just like patting Quintus, like it's okay. There's a storm coming.
All right, going.
Oh yeah. So is
below
Quintus
decks?
still like just kind of in the common areas below deck somewhere?
Basically, he's now in a strange headspace because, I guess when if you guys walked out, he will want to talk to you.
Mm-hmm. I've already informed you of the conversation that happened.
Interested marginally.
Okay.
Sort of slap you on the back and like give you a shake. Look,
What
kind
I'm
of green
doing
there.
is-
Quintus.
I am hanging out at the edge of the ship, kind of just looking at the storm and all that stuff. But not really. I'm in my bird and I'm watching myself.
Okay. Just hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
How many yell, Sarthus, Sarthus, isn't this cool?
You don't hear. You hear this through the bird, but kind of distantly because Casilda's up in the rigging somewhere.
I can respond.
You can respond. Yeah.
I guess.
Come on and join us.
No, thank you.
As Sarthus is kind of hanging out.
It's always been his
He's
fault.
hanging, like midship, hanging around the mast, like leaned up against it. His eyes like glazed over white, because his mind is
You
actually.
can't
up
really
in the-
see that because I'm facing out.
Yes, yeah. So you can't exactly see, but you
You've
just
seen
kind
it
of.
before.
Yeah.
I guess
You
don't
are
know what I'm
used
doing
to seeing this kind of thing, but and the two crewmen who are with you are like, yeah, or,
Yeah, this is fun. So is that storm gonna hit us?
oh, it looked like probably, yeah,
Cool. Can we stay aboard up here and watch it?
if you'd like.
I won't get blown over.
I hope not.
I want to watch the storm if there's a good place to sit where I'll be safe.
All right. Well, that'll do then. We can stay up here. I've known.
So how long have y'all been on the ship?
Well, and this is who are you talking about? I can't remember. Sherman. He's human and talking to you. I've been on here for a couple of years now, and it's been pretty good. I like it. It's a nice time. We go back and forth. Sometimes to Port Zoom, sometimes to Port Damali. Occasionally, we'll cross the continent, go to Iman. Once in a while, we'll make a multi-leg trip to Vasselheim, but not much.
So have you ever been, so tell me about being attacked by pirates. Has that ever happened?
The one time it did.
What happened?
There were some well-funded pirates. Let me tell you what. They were in a smaller ship than ours, but faster, purpose-built, unlike this one, which is a little bit tougher to turn. But there were enough of us on board, as there's a good 12 of us aboard. This smaller ship only had 5 or 6. We were able to, with the ballista up front, with Rosanna on it, we were able to repel them. But it was a narrow thing. The Wyvern was much closer. Let me tell you. And,
That would be really cool. Maybe we'll see.
I mean, they don't breathe fire like some of those dragons, but we lost one. Was it one? Yes. He looks over at Fish, and Fish nods. Yes, it was the one. It was a tough time. He tore up part of the quarterdeck and some of our sails. We barely limped back into Stilben that time.
Well, I'm hoping they'll see a wyvern. The pirates might be pretty cool.
I mean, there's other things up here too.
Like what?
Well, there's things they say that live in the clouds. I have myself never seen them, but they say that the storms harbor cities,
That's neat.
right? And you
Yeah.
can see his pupils are just way dilated. he's had more than one hit of the Sood, and he's just like, he's feeling good. You imagine that he might have several spells built up right now. Like he's had that magical essence just infusing him.
Dude's an archmage.
Yeah, he's on like his second joint at this point. And Fish, the Aarakocra, like every once in a while will take like just a small hit, is mostly drinking mead, and it seems to be a little bit warier and is kind of actually watching out. And, hasn't said a word yet to you.
So, what was his name? Fish.
That's
Fish,
what they
what's
all
your
call him.
story?
He says, well, I get around. I'm here.
That's great. I am so glad to meet you.
It's nice.
This whole sailing trip is like the coolest thing that's ever happened to me.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow. He is at the most like 2-word answers, it seems like.
All right, Roland's going to turn around and just amble off because he's really stoned and he doesn't really know what he's doing.
All right. As you do that, there is a sudden just flash and just this strike of bright light, like fairly near the ship, which makes you pause for a second. It seems like the storm has suddenly, like, really gotten a lot closer.
Okay.
It seems to be almost rolling out of itself, like, towards the ship.
I'm going to go stand in a doorway, back down to where they are, and watch the storm for a little bit. But I'm going to be in the doorway.
Okay. Because the doorway is really like it's a hatchway in the ship with the stair that goes down. And as that first strike happens, you see another strike just maybe 10 seconds later happen on another side of the ship. Like it seems like the storm is really gathering around this now.
So I'm going to turn around and yell, Quintus, come up here. It's cool.
I appreciate the offer. No. Just no.
And at one point, like as you pass into some clouds and out of a cloud, just rain starts drenching everything.
Okay, I'll go back inside and down with them now. I guess my high wore off. I'm right
I would have started a conversation with you two when you came down. So I hear there is a acquaintance of yours already on the ship. Perhaps you have run into them many times, strangely so.
We've had our differences in the past, but we just had a talk with him and smooths everything over.
That is good.
I mean, we're not friends or anything, but
I just this. I mean, you must know this. This cannot be coincidence. This is your destiny taking hold. Whoever this person is seems to be wrapped around your own path.
right, that we a sailor that we had met before, we ran into again on a ship.
Was the other ship an airship?
No.
But I think there was tell of council or something. Shay sort of gave me the short notes.
Yeah, he was a member of a criminal organization that was attempting to take control of the Taldori Council, and we thwarted their efforts and helped to restore balance of power. I mean, there's still the council, running the city.
And he was not caught for this transgression.
Let's see. We took care of his boss.
Took care.
Murdered. We murdered his boss. We just murdered his boss.
Well, I assume it was your only option at that point.
It was, he did just stab other members of the council, and I mean, it was,
Salai speaks up from over in his, curled up in his hammock and says, "Yes, he was doing bad things, and we took care of it." And then he rolls kind of back the other way.
Well, when it is not so frightening outside, perhaps I will have a conversation with this Tomas.
We've agreed to keep our distance, but I guess you can start your own relationship with him if you want. Just I wouldn't bring our association up too much.
I understand. It's one of
You might just want to meet him on your own terms.
Well, it's just one of the tenets of the matron. It is that I've told you before. Fate is sacrosanct. It is continuous and non-bending. Those who attempt to subvert or change it, or perhaps not follow their fate, bad things end up happening. So I figure if this person has literally shown up randomly as you travel the world,
like 3 times now.
I want to avoid any pitfalls.
So are you saying we need to get rid of him so it doesn't happen again?
Not precisely.
Okay.
No. Perhaps it might be the opposite. Perhaps this is a moment of mending. But I will know more when I speak to him. Just not now. I think if I go out, I may fall.
I mean, he's up there. He's
Nope.
right there.
No, I'm good. It's a little awful out there right now. He's got to come in here sometime.
Can't stay out there forever. I guess you're right.
Well, the below decks area is sectioned off. The part you're in is aft end sectioned off. The part that everybody else sleeps in has a wall in between you, and so he does not have to come by you.
Yeah, I just mean I could go to him.
Oh yeah, you could totally go
As
to
long
him.
as it's not up on deck where I might start vomiting and then pass out, and that'll be embarrassing.
These are good helmets, by the way. Thank you.
And actually, do you mind if I speak with Chomsky for a moment?
Like privately?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
sure.
There was just there's something.
I'm just gonna shrug and just.
Hey, sorry.
I'm just gonna arm wrestle. Arm wrestle.
Dumb wrestle? Okay.
Arm wrestle.
Okay.
Please make a strength check.
We roll for straight checks.
I'm just Also, this
Nat 20.
Damn.
Crom's still in the
when
ruins.
when I was down here with Crom earlier,
Like-
I'm speaking to their friend again. I
Let me come
haven't
crawling out
known
of the-
you all that
out of
long.
the
Is
hammock.
this normal?
Beautiful.
I'd say this
No
is this is new. I've known Crom for a long time, and like this isn't like a thing she used to do back in the day. She's usually very grounded. She's not, she's not prone to flights of fancy and imaginary friends or so that's really not Crom at all. She's very straightforward and literal, and so for her to be doing this is it's weird. I'm not necessarily unsettled by it, but it's odd for sure.
Normally I would not judge a person's proclivities, but seeing as you are all cursed by a betrayer god,
Gifted, cursed, yeah.
sudden shift in
Matter of
behavior alarmed me slightly. I may meditate and perhaps ask my patron
I'd
if
say
this is something to worry
yeah,
about.
I'd say given Crom's directness and straightforwardness, this is not a game or an I think she's really seeing something. I don't know.
I have tried to detect magic, and that has given me nothing.
So that would eliminate any kind of illusion magic or her mind being
It's just,
enchanted.
when I talked with Crom before, like you said, I did not get that sort of flight of fancy feel, and she told me that she has been friends with you for a very long time. I thought I would ask.
Yeah, this is new to me.
I will attempt to meditate, I suppose, and yeah, he's just like nervously looking everywhere, just
Okay.
with the thunder going. Yet you're smart. This is not going to just fall out of the air, right? Like if lightning hits us.
Well, I have spoken with the boson.
Ah, yes, Higgs
Yeah,
boson.
yeah.
Higgs boson.
Fermion boson. Yeah. I've spoken with him, and lightning strikes did not come up actually. So,
But in your
I would assume.
professional
not. Let's see.
You do know that is not electrically powered.
Right. There's minuscule lightning is what I call electricity. So I am going to try to put Quintus's mind at ease. I don't know if I'll roll like a deception or
Yeah, go ahead.
like I'm gonna pretend to know that
yeah.
everything is fine, but
That's not.
I don't know if it is or not. But I'm just gonna say like I think it's okay.
In fact,
Like,
We'll call it a
charged
deception.
crystals.
Yeah, because you don't know. So.
Normally I would insight, but I really want to believe this.
Yeah.
Did he have advantage?
I'm not going to give you advantage, but you're not going to have to do a contested check. So.
Yeah.
My deception is not good.
You know
So
what?
Can I assist you?
Based by the sarcasm in your voice, yeah, that makes sense.
I'm
Can I assist?
What are you going to say to assist?
Just, I don't know. I'm just gonna say it'll be okay. When I talked to the people at the board, they said it'd be all right.
Yeah, sure, you can assist. Do you
Yeah,
want to
it's
roll
like
an
when I talked to
advantage,
them,
or
I
do you
said-
want to both roll?
You can roll an advantage.
I was thinking about using my all or nothing coin.
Of course.
Since I have a -1 to my deception, so like I might as well roll a 1 or a 20.
All right.
And
roll
advantage-
any die, and if it's
Well, I got a coin.
you got a coin. All right, cool.
Oh.
Go for it.
So if I'm doing it with advantage, do I get to flip it twice?
Well,
Yes. Well, actually,
all or nothing
or-
is just all or nothing, right? That's the
because this
magical
is because if you're using the coin, oh gosh, What did I say about that coin? What did it
So
say exactly?
the description just says, on a roll you would normally use a d20, flip a coin instead. Heads is a critical success, tails is a critical fail, can be used twice per short rest. So it just says on a roll.
so you would use that as advantage because this is a roll that you usually use a d20. So yeah, so
flip
at
twice.
advantage, you get to flip twice and use the higher
Well, that's heads. So
Not 20.
because the other one says 1 on it.
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So that's nat 20. All right. You totally believe him that he
this
is
is
an
the
expert on
safest ship ever,
on
thank you.
airships, and you suddenly feel like you can actually sleep tonight.
Oh, yes. I'm happy you have a firm grasp of the, what did you call it, aeronautics?
Yes.
It's comforting. Thank you.
Extremely. All right. As is everybody else? Is everybody down right now, or are you still on deck?
Now on deck. I would have liked to have been there for that conversation, but
But you weren't.
no.
all right, yeah, you're still watching the storm as it just like
As it is
rolls
like
in with
just
torrential
it is
rain.
torrential rain at this point, and the lightning strikes are getting more often and more close.
I'm imagining all of the crew on deck is like, you know, trying to like get under overhangs and shielded. And so this is just like standing there in the open with the rain just pouring over him, staring off.
You know, honey badger don't. Yeah.
Give it a look.
Anyway, as you all wrap up your conversation and start to fall off to sleep, you feel the storm kind of start rocking the ship more, and there's definitely more movement going on. And it is a little bit hard to get to sleep. And suddenly, you do hear a loud, just thunder crack, just a crack happen, and you feel the whole ship shudder. And every hammock that everybody's in, anybody who's not in a hammock kind of stumbles, and it seems like just momentum has suddenly shifted, and you are no longer moving.
Oh dear.
I'm gonna run upstairs and see
Oh.
what's happening.
As long as they're not moving down. We're still
Well,
okay.
because they're all below deck. What you see is a lightning strike. First off, hits the foredeck, and both of the sailors up there fall to the ground. And after that, another, like a jolt hits the ship, and suddenly just everything seems to shift, and you just feel like you're no longer moving or moving very slowly. Yeah, what do you want to do?
Do I see anything?
Make a perception check.
In the way?
Make a perception check.
Well, let me look.
What is your perception?
I'm gonna say I'm gonna say I came out of my bird when because that would shock me out of it, but yeah.
It's up to you. You can do it.
13.
Really?
So just looking around from leaning up against the mast, looking slightly behind you, you see outlined by a sudden lightning flash, the silhouette of what looks like a humanoid. It's hard to get in scale, but it looks like it might be very large.
Size.
Yeah, maybe giant-sized or something like that.
Alright. Change of plan.
What are the rest of you doing? As you see that another lightning strike hits in another part of the deck and just crashes and splinters go flying.
Totally go
You're actually
on
hit
board
by
up
some of the
there.
splinters.
I'm
You
going
take
up on
1
board.
piercing damage.
Okay.
I'm gonna get out of the hammock and see if there's anything around me that I can hold on to. So we're stopped though, right?
You are now stopped, yes.
So there's no more jolts of
There has been no, except for that it feels like at one point, like you hear lightning and thunder go extremely loudly another time, and the whole ship kind of jostles as it happens.
I am like knees to chest, booking
Yeah.
it up those stairs.
Is anybody screaming on deck?
You do hear some screams of pain, and as you come up on deck and you see the two sailors at the front of the ship that were smoking are getting back up and just started like yelling in alarm as another part of the ship is struck, and you see another lightning strike in back of you, and it looks like there is something that seems to be hurling things at the ship.
I'm gonna go back downstairs and get my blazing longbow and then come back up.
How about how, can I tell the range of this thing?
With that perception check you roll, it's real hard to tell the range of it quite. From here, you would probably have to get up on the quarter deck as it is kind of behind and
Well-
on that side.
I'm gonna go ahead and yell, like, nobody might see it, but be like, giant! And I run downstairs and try to get these gays.
Giant.
Alright. I got bored.
Whoa. That awesome.
That seems more like I got productive.
I got productive. Something.
Yeah, I'm
Well,
gonna
there.
shadow step.
I'd like to put these are
Not battleship, but
Cirthus
battleshots.
is somewhere around the mast or something like that.
I'll let you throw
At this point, would it be
It's up to you.
That's not my
Well,
fault.
okay.
You know where you were.
I know where I was, I guess. Let's see. Where would I have been?
That's why I'm like,
Got the Batman thing going.
yeah, I'm like,
I
hey.
guess I'm running towards the entrance so that I could get my companions.
Okay.
I don't know how far I've gotten.
All right. And as they come up,
Are we battling
Shay.
Zeus?
so we're gonna find out. Shay, you were the first to run up. So if you would put Shay at the, there's a hole in the deck near the rear side.
Yeah,
Just put
I was gonna-
right there. I know it all comes apart. So
I am
It's
totally
meant to.
shadow stepping.
where are you shadowing stepping to?
I am gonna get up onto that.
Up here.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to know what is throwing stuff. What is causing this?
You don't
Make
say.
a perception check real quick. Let's see if you can see, because you're closer definitely, and there's less stuff in the way.
I couldn't tell you, and I also it's straight ahead of me. 20.
20. As you shadow step up onto the top with who are we going to use for that? We'll use this guy. Would you put this next to Shay up there? Just next to the front railing. Yes.
I think I do have.
We'll call it Thomas. As you shadow step up next to Thomas, you look at him briefly and then look up, and you see in a flash of lightning, as lightning is held in his hand, this massive, almost 30-foot tall figure that seems to be standing in the midst of a cloud. Although as the lightning flashes, you see what almost, it seems like a trick of the eye, but it looks like almost a mountain in back of him. As if there was land on top of the storm clouds that have been traveling through. And so there's definitely a thing there. And looking between him and the boat, there seems to be this line of just jagged electricity almost attaching his left hand to the back of the boat. And that seems to be what is holding the boat. Could everybody roll initiative?
And how?
Okay. How far?
Yeah,
I mean, it's like a good 40 feet, maybe 50 feet to
11.
like. He waited until y'all got close.
Oh wow. 19.
15 for.
The good news is you get to see what everybody else's plan is. And you can
Sure,
adjust
I know about
accordingly.
Well, I now 100% believe that this ship cannot be, sunk by lightning. So I'm actually in a good place.
We can
Okay.
still die by lightning.
Yeah.
What did you have?
11.
11.
I'm not that worried about me.
What did everybody else have? What do we got?
15.
Six.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
14.
6. So below deck, 14. Oops. Yeah, there we go. 14. Roll in. Okay. You had what?
15.
15. So what did you have, Jump?
5.
Who had 6?
Me.
Oh, had 6. Is that everyone? Oh yeah, I gotta roll for it. You know what, for this, I'm gonna say Salai is still asleep. He just doesn't wake up.
Heavy sleeper. Noted.
Well, actually, I know it. He just doesn't wake up.
He's dead. Oh my god, he's dead.
He's just was really tired. I don't know. I guess it really worked out or something.
Maybe he's scared of heights.
All right, Quintus, below decks. At this point, you have the fastest reaction. So what are you doing? You hear Shay yell "Giant!" just kind of through the
I don't know that.
the thunder and the noise of the rain coming down.
Alright, and everyone else is down there with me.
And most Shay is up. Roland, you were running up.
Yeah.
So you were, let's say you were at the top of the stairs when this happened. So take yours and put it at the top. Well, not those stairs, but the ones on deck. Yeah. So right there. So everybody else is below deck.
Alright. So with giants, I suppose fight fire with fire, and I will take the claret symbol. There's some soft light spilling off of it as I cast haste on Crom.
Ah.
You get +2 to AC. Your movement speed is doubled, and you get an extra attack action. So you'll have 4 total attacks.
Cool.
I don't know. Yeah, so.
Let's do the AC.
Yeah, that's.
Of course,
that's
it's
it.
like 50 feet away. So that is.
Well,
I don't know the situation, so
Do you
just
have fly?
barbarian haste. And then I will.
I can cast fly sometimes, not reliably.
I will move up to.
There's like a 10% chance.
Yeah. And I don't currently have levitate.
I'll move up towards the bottom. Well, so could with my movement of 25, could I get on deck?
You could. It would take about 15 to get above deck, and then you'd have about 10 left.
Alright, then I'll just tuck back here then.
Okay.
I just like see and I immediately just kind of tuck back in.
Alright.
Or
Change by 30.
yeah, that's it. So
Cool.
hasted chrome, concentrating.
Crom is hasted. Alright, let's see. Cerathus, you're up next.
Is that the only bastila there is?
That is the only ballista there is, yeah.
Anybody over there by it?
Yeah, at this point, there's 2 sailors that have just gotten back up on their feet that are near it. Yes.
Alright.
And actually, I'll.
Running over there.
You'll have to. This is 30 feet, so you'd have to dash to get there.
Put these next
Or
to the
I
ballista.
know you've got like Misty Step, right? The 30 is right there.
That's probably what I'm gonna do. Activate the belt so I can get all the way over here.
Alright.
Oh.
Yeah. They were just drinking up near it. They weren't necessarily in range to like make it. work. So you activate your belt with the. Yep. Anything else?
There's a bolt on it, I assume.
There is a bolt loaded.
This is not gonna work out. Cast
I'll
the-
say. Yeah. What are you gonna?
Do I know how to operate this thing?
I don't know. Make an intelligence check.
I mean, it should be relatively simple. If it's already, is it loaded?
It is loaded
Is it ready to fire?
and ready to fire, but still, make an intelligence check. Your DC is gonna be lower. If you need to load it again, you might
Oh, yeah.
might need to make another check. Roland, you're on deck.
Yeah.
7. I don't have a clue.
7.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, looking at it, you get. It's hard to tell with the rain driving and the lightning flashing in the moment. It's you get up to it and you're like, and things are happening by the time. Yeah. So roll.
Okay, I'm gonna dash up, I'm gonna run up there,
Yes.
draw out my blazing longbow, shoot a blazing longbow arrow at him.
Go for it.
Natural.
Natural 20. All right. Roll for that'll hit.
Thank you.
So roll for damage plus
Ooh.
8.
8 plus 4, so, yeah.
And
8 plus 4.
I'm sorry, what am
and you crit, so
And you
Yeah.
crit, so you double the 8.
I? Okay,
so
16.
16 plus
16
4
plus
is
4, so
20
20 points.
Thank you.
without sneak attack. Hold on to it. 'Cause I figure
Yeah, hold on.
Longbow
You're
will
probably
be
gonna
nice.
use it again.
Yeah.
All right, as the blazing longbow fires up, and as you just before you release, it bursts into flame and hits the giant. It hits it just below some of its shoulder armor. It bounces off, but definitely you can kind of tell like it kind of jerks back from it. And as you do that, it with its left hand pulls, and the whole ship shifts 10 feet back towards it. With its right hand, actually, let me see. There it is. Yep. With its right hand, you see as the lightning crackles and almost seems to take physical shape in its hand before it goes like this, launches forward, and lightning strikes right there. Could everybody please make a dexterity? Well, not everybody, but Roland and Shay, could you make a dexterity saving throw?
All right, and I have evasion on dexterity. Oh, that's only to take half damage.
Well, if you save, you take no damage
15.
on evasion.
21.
Yeah. All right. So you take no damage on this. However,
Sucks to be a melee person. Are you gonna dangle me
There's
over?
no monks or something.
I don't have anything to prepare.
I have it. I'm just not 100% how it works.
No, you're right. When you succeed, you completely dodge, and when you fail, you only take half damage.
That's still
evasion.
super.
That's not what it says. It says
In
when I
my
roll
little
half
sphere,
damage,
doesn't
I only take half damage. I see take no damage, but I see.
If he's concentrating,
I
it
only
does
take half
something,
damage
but
if I fail.
Yeah, so you only take half damage if you fail, and you take no damage
All right.
if you
Yeah.
succeed.
Okay, cool.
So you don't
so
have
you
to take
succeeded on it.
Yes, excellent.
You take no damage. However,
15.
Yeah.
both Thomas and Shay, you take 50 lightning damage.
50.
Jesus.
50?
50 lightning damage. Yes.
You're at 12.
I might need to get below deck.
As you do, like it. Let's make sure that's
No, I also have like 11 temporary hit points that I don't
Yeah.
know where those came from.
I think
They came from one.
So are those gone now?
Yeah,
I don't
there's no reason there
remember.
would still be a thing.
Because like, I mean, we've taken a rest since
Yeah.
then.
Yeah, we shouldn't have temporary
Right.
hit points.
Yeah.
I grabbed them also.
Right. He gave them to like
everybody, basically.
All right, the two of you are blown 5 feet back.
Yep. Did I get blown 5 feet back?
You did,
Okay.
even with the save. He see something. Nope. Thomas just goes over the
I only
side
take half
and
damage.
You lose sight of him. You only take half damage. Okay, so 25.
I only take half
Oh,
damage.
do you have evasion?
Yeah, I do.
All right, so you
God.
take 25. I know that was a lot, right?
That was like,
Giants, I know, right?
yeah.
And as you are blown back, you see Thomas just,
So you're at 38.
as he was standing up against the railing, is just blown over the side, and you lose sight of him.
I'm sure his little cockroach is still alive.
Yeah, really. Shay, you are up.
It's probably politics.
We don't see.
You
We
have
don't see his
the
body,
whole
then-
ship. You have seen it right before the lightning strike. You saw the whole ship wrenched back another 10 feet towards the giant.
How far away from the giant am I exactly?
You're about 40 feet now.
Probably 15 feet closer.
Yeah.
And it seems like he seems to be standing on something. As you have gotten closer, there seems to be some type of solid ground within the cloud. And as you can see now, there's like land and some kind of structure behind them.
I know. Thinking I might do darkness.
Yeah, there's no
FYI,
Long strider would be cool.
at some point, I don't know when, but they go to shoot that.
I don't even have to
Baffle.
get closer.
They go to shoot that
Yeah.
giant with the basilisk. I'm gonna have them hold off if I can until it's my turn.
Because you have to use
Okay.
two points to cast spells.
Try to get them to aim it.
You can do that.
I got an idea.
I will say that they can wait until your turn if you want to. As you're standing there, you could have said something.
I'll take mercy.
Is that what you do?
Yeah.
I just hope they listen.
I'm gonna cast darkness.
Centered on.
Yeah,
giant.
centered on that sucker.
Sit on the giant. How big is darkness?
It is
15.
It's
radius.
Yeah, it's a 15.
And I'm guessing.
15,
I'm gonna
if it's
ask, but I'm guessing
sphere.
you're centered on his head
Oh, yeah.
because he is taller than 15 feet tall.
Yeah.
So centered on his head, this ball of blackness suddenly appears, just, and you can see just like his calves and like feet sticking out the bottom. It's kind of disconcerting. This is a large humanoid, but okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's your turn, right? Crom, you are up, and Chomp, you're on deck.
Yes. How far are we below deck?
You with 15 feet of movement, you could be above deck. You could be on the main deck.
Oh, 15?
15 feet of movement
Your
could get you on the
speed
main
is
deck.
Double, yeah.
Haste, so you can get anywhere.
You could get anywhere pretty much on the deck.
So, okay, so.
I see Chrome just like take off. Just
Yeah, if I can get up there,
Yeah.
the upper.
Up on the upper deck. You could get anywhere on there. You want to get as close as you
Alright,
can?
As close as I can.
All right, you are as close as you can. You are on the upper deck. You technically have 4 attacks, although you are still a good 25 feet. Yeah, 30 feet from the giant.
Okay. Not gonna jump yet. We need to get this thing closer so I can jump out of space. Okay, alright, I would like to use a bonus action to rage.
Rage.
Rage. And yeah, okay. I'm gonna
Too many conditions.
okay. I'm gonna try this. Yeah, I've got some indexes. I'm gonna
But you also had javelins.
yeah, I have a javelin.
No, I think it comes with like double,
Oh.
like 3 and
I don't know. That's fine.
It says
When
javelin.
you're making your character, you get 5, but you might have used some.
It depends. Yeah.
Oh, I have 4. Have 4.
You do. You have 2 hand axes
Okay.
and 4 javelins.
Okay, so I'm raging. I am also reckless attacking.
Okay. So you have advantage. Go ahead and attack.
With the javelin, 20.
That'll hit.
Plus strength, plus range.
6, 11.
All right.
And so that's. Oh, wait. Sorry, it's been a minute since I've done this.
Because you're attacking at advantage too, so make sure you
Yeah.
roll again to make sure if you get a crit.
I did, I rolled 2.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
okay.
Oh, okay, that wasn't frenzy. Right, that's the other thing. Never mind.
Okay.
And I'd like to. Can I? Yeah, I have another attack.
Well, technically you have like 3 more attacks.
3 more attacks?
Because you're hasty.
Yeah.
You're hasty.
Haste
gives you
You
the
can
whole
launch
action.
everything you have nearly in this round.
Machine gun it. You're the ballista now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
You just like
so I'll do another javelin.
And you're still at advantage.
So it looks like it's like stuck between the 3 and
That's
the
cocked,
20.
so.
it's cocked.
Well, you can redo it.
Right.
And you're at advantage.
Yeah.
So, 'cause
Added-
you're-
They can't.
Okay.
So now they have-
They're at
another
disadvantage
20.
when they try to
Alright.
roll for the
22.
attack.
22. Fuck. Oh, I've got the thing where I can re-roll my
That's right.
thing.
I guess.
2 plus
I
3
guess he's chucking it at
plus
his
2.
Where it's not considered.
7.
7. All right.
1,000 axes.
Get another 2.
20!
20. There you
Make
go.
you quit.
You have brutal critical, or is that later?
I don't think you have brutal critical right now.
Only if I know my head basher has a special thing on a crit, but I'm not using that, so.
But you're not using that right now.
6. 11.
Well, the 6 is double, so.
Oh,
because
it's
you
double?
crit.
Yeah, you doubled
12,
them.
30, 17?
Yeah,
17. Yep.
The third hit now.
Yeah,
your
you
fourth
do
hit.
your 4th hit.
Damn. 17 plus 6.
Well,
Well,
roll again to see if you crit again.
This is your 4th
I got so
javelin.
excited about.
Yeah, no more javelins after
So there's
this,
no more
but
javelins
I
after this,
lost that
but
javelin.
Then
That's
you
fine.
could
But-
just go get all of
My
the
hand
ballista.
axes.
just start.
Start throwing
You
the
said
list
they're
of bolts.
basically spears, not
I mean, they're
arrows.
basically steel
Okay, so-
spears. Yeah.
10
10.
on the last javelin.
All right.
Nice.
That's your
Sounds
hit,
like
or that's your
50
damage.
damage.
That's my damage.
All right, cool. All right, so as you just quickly, like, Roland and Shay, you see Crom just, like, zoom up here. It seems like almost leaving, like, flash-like streaks behind her. And just spinning, just starts launching her 4 javelins all at once.
Just move it like
Just like spinning in a circle. And you see these flashes go, and they just into the midsection. One of them glances, but you see like this odd like purple blood spray out, and another one of them hits into just the shoulder muscle here and kind of hangs afterwards, and the 2 others also kind of just cut into the sides. It's not real hurt, but
Is he concentrating on any spells?
he is not.
Okay. Because I have Mage Slayer. If I damage him, he has disadvantage on his saving throws.
He's not currently. Let's see what are his spells. No, he is not currently
Okay.
concentrating on any spells. But
But he is blind as a bat now.
he cannot see it. I mean, you actually. I should retract a bunch of that because you actually don't see these things.
You
yet.
just hit him in
You
the
just hit
abs.
Yes.
I imagine she just
I
like.
mean, you have a good idea of where he is based on where his legs are going up into the bowl of
That's
darkness.
again the size of that.
Because he's not totally in the darkness, I'm not going to put you at disadvantage. So,
Alright.
um, because he's too big for the bow of darkness. Okay.
So
who's
he just
next?
went blind,
Chomp
and then
is
all of a
next.
sudden, fourth.
Just went,
Yay.
and you hear this just. You are the last one still below deck, so where would you like to go?
I'll run up above deck. My walking speed is 25.
And I got where I was with 25.
15 will make you above deck, and then you have another 10. So,
15 gets you there.
which is in line of sight, basically. Yes.
Okay.
As you come above and look over your shoulder as you turn, you just see this rolling bubble of darkness, but behind which lightning is striking, and you
I come
see
up
two,
and I'm like,
Is
what?
there
and you see two legs sticking out the bottom.
Is there a cabin here?
What?
There is a cabin in there, yes.
Okay. I might duck into there.
Out
next
of
turn.
which, actually, probably about this time, the Commodore, if you will put the Commodore next to, like, pretty much where you are,
Yeah,
comes out and it's like, I know what's going on out here, and just is just looking around and doesn't really have time to do anything.
Okay.
Well,
Quintus, you're up next.
so what's I mean, we're within at least 60 feet of him from where I am.
Yeah, I'll say you're within 60 because he has pulled you closer.
All right, right. And it's like a lightning chain, kind of or a crackling.
I mean, you can't see quite from here. You can see a little bit of what he's holding in his
Right.
hand. Looks like it's some type of chain or rope or something like that. That seems to have some kind of energy crackling around it.
Okay, so I'll try to. Okay, I'm gonna cast Banishment.
Oh, all right. What is the saving throw on banishment?
It's a new thing.
16, right?
Charisma of 16.
What is his charisma saving? He rolls a 23.
Wow.
As you
Charismatic
pass,
guy.
you just see the rolling bubble of darkness kind of move a little bit as the center point of it seems to have been affected, but doesn't go anywhere.
Okay, then. That's it.
Okay, Quintus, you're up.
Alright.
Circus, you're on deck.
I don't fully understand what's going on, but I did hear lightning strike and a cry of pain. So I guess I will bounce 5, 10, 15, 20. And just kind of like at the tippy top of the stairs, I see Shay, who's injured. I'll do a cure wounds. Actually, let's do something. Actually, yeah, I will do aid. It is at second level. And get Roland, Shay, and Chomp. So all three of you will get 10 temporary hit points.
Thank you. Thank you.
10 temporary hit points.
Greatly appreciated.
Good to have a cleric.
Yes.
Yes, and I'll like start heading back down the stairs, but that's the limit of my speed.
Yeah,
So I'm
He's
just
too
kind of
close
up
to
here.
the edge.
that's cool. All right, Cirthus, and roll on your best.
All right. So, is this when they would fire? Or do I have to
Yes,
hold?
you could because you could say something to them in the meantime, like as you were, because it's as long as it was short, you could say something as you were acting.
All right.
So using their turn, they could have helped you turn, and now you're firing. So
Well, what I'm doing is having them aim to the center of the blackness,
okay,
and just before they pull the trigger, cast darkness on the bolt.
okay,
Because darkness is an area, it stays in one place unless it's
Yeah.
casting an object. So I want darkness to stick with them.
okay. So now there will be 2
Spheres of darkness.
spheres of darkness on the board.
But if he moves, my darkness will go with him.
Okay. Roll.
If he hits. If they hit. Now they should have advantage, I would assume.
Yeah, they. Well. No, they
'Cause
won't
he
have
wouldn't-
advantage.
unless he sees through it, he won't be able to like dodge it or anything.
Yeah, but he's already in darkness too, so he can't see anyway. So it's not so much a dodge as it is. Roll an attack plus 6 to see if you hit.
Is that cocked?
Yes, it is.
Good, because
Very
that
much.
sucked.
Yeah, so that worked out for you. Yes, you hit.
Woo!
Okay, now roll. Gosh, what is this? 3d10.
7.
14.
Nice.
15. All right, 15 damage. So, as the 2 sailors who are up there have been helping you kind of turn it around slowly in the wind and rain, you release as soon as you think that you're centered on the blackness, and as it goes into the blackness, you hear this as it enters in, and you're pretty sure you hit. That was 15, right? Okay. Rolling.
All right, blazing longbow again, but I want to do it at his. Can I see his stomach? Is that?
I mean, his stomach is. So what is showing is occasionally bits of his hand show through the edges as he's kind of going like this, maybe, and then just above his knee and down is showing.
Okay, I'm gonna go for just above his knee.
Since he's blind, would Roland have advantage? Because like he can't see it dodge. I can't remember like what blind effect does besides. they
Yeah,
can't
let me
see.
check on that. Because you're
I
right, I've
think-
never
I think,
used that.
I think attackers might have advantage on a blinded target.
Yeah, actually, I should have given you advantage. You're right. He does have an advantage. So roll with
So
advantage.
this, if you hit, will give you sneak attack as
Because
well.
he's technically blinded.
Well, no, I don't have anybody within 5 feet of
No,
him.
you have advantage, so you
Oh,
get sneak
okay.
attack.
I mean, it does change
Roll
things when they're
once
that
again,
large.
just to see if you
I
have
have
a crit.
Yeah.
Yay. So that's
No, okay.
16 plus
20,
7.
23 to hit.
23 hits. Roll for damage.
And I have sneak attack, you said?
Yep. So
You do have sneak attack because he can't see you.
Oh, I'm.
So all is d6.
Alright, then I gotta roll one more d6.
nice.
So that was an 8 before I turned it over.
That was
So it's
6.
6. Okay.
11, 16, 19. And you said you do one more. Do you have
Yeah.
So 21.
21 damage.
Yeah.
You launch it in right at the knee, and it embeds right above the kneecap, and just
Good.
you see him kind of stumble.
You
How
kneecap
can
this
you
guy.
hold on
Yep.
Totally kneecap.
to him?
So now you can probably, like, you still got your bonus action to dash if you wanted to. 'cause
Yeah, you can.
You can hit him from anywhere.
You could
on the
technically, you
ship.
could hide. You could dash with your bonus action. You could
Disengage. But
disengage, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm gonna stay where I am.
Nice.
Okay, it is now the giant's turn. As you all kind of stumble a little bit, the boat goes. It starts to go back this way another 10 feet and starts to angle, and he is getting close.
Good.
Yeah.
And
That's
he
what we
releases.
This is gonna hurt.
As you don't see any. Well, let me see something real quick. Nope. You don't see any lightning flashing, but suddenly a stone flies out. Let's say it's probably going to be near the quarterdeck because that's where he knew some of you were. Let's see what he does. Let's see, he's going after Roland, really. But he's at disadvantage, so
And I
that's
have.
crocked. It's 15. That's an 8.
Yeah, I have uncanny dodge.
Well, that'll half the damage.
They'll
if you
have
need to.
damage. So with a that's 22 to hit,
Yeah.
but I need d12s. Why did I not remember any d12s? So that's 15 damage, halved to 7 damage, bludgeoning damage, as this rock just flies out of the darkness and manages to hit
That
you
would
and
just go out of your temp hit points.
Oh,
So you
right.
got 3 temp hit
and kind of clips you in the ankle like it's a good size, like bowling ball sized piece of rock that just clips you in the ankle. And exactly.
Cleric. Helping.
Cleric. All right, and Shay, you're up. Crom, you're on deck.
I wonder what she's up to.
Okay, so so I have a wonderful and terrible question.
Yeah.
Do you think I could shadow step someone?
Shadow step someone?
Yeah.
No. You can only shadow step yourself.
Damn it.
Yeah, that's a self cast.
I'd be into it.
I mean,
No, I wanted to
It's not a
pull-
creature you can touch. It's you. I know. That would be awesome.
I feel like Crom can make that jump now.
I think
It's
you
getting
could.
close.
With
Like
double your speed.
one more pull, and this giant's gonna be within melee range. So,
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
what's
gonna
this?
shadow step
to
its head.
its head.
Its head. Or the approximation
I mean-
of where its head would be.
You can guess where its head would be
Yeah.
based on some. I
Yeah.
mean, just basic geometry
Its
of the shadow ball that you cast.
Yeah. Like I can.
Because you don't have to
approximate-
make a hit roll to make shadow step work, but it's still a place you can see, so that's tough. You can see where its feet are standing.
Oh, so just go to its feet.
You can't see its head, but you can see
Smash
its
his
feet
ankles.
coming out of the bottom. Its legs coming out of the bottom of this ball of shadow.
Can't you do a key point to see through darkness?
She can, yeah, and through magical darkness even.
So it's up to you
But
how
I
you want to
think
go
that
with
would
this.
be an action.
That would be an action. So yeah, I'm just gonna, because it says, it doesn't say I technically have to see it.
Does it not?
No,
Hold on.
but it just has to be an unoccupied area.
I mean, if it
You
doesn't.
are in dim light or darkness as
Yeah.
a bonus action. You can teleport up to 6.
This is dim
No,
light, at least.
that you can see.
Oh, it says I can see.
It's
I see.
intermittent darkness.
Yeah, so just pop down to his feet. He's standing
Yeah.
on something. He's not just in the cloud.
Yeah, I'll pop down to his feet
Let's hope so.
and punch his Achilles tendon. Because that's what I'm good at.
Monk shit. All right.
Yeah, monk shit is right.
That is your bonus action.
Yeah.
You all see Shay just like meld with the darkness suddenly, and then you hear this from about
Punch his Achilles tendon is
about
what I'm
15
gonna
feet
do.
away, 20 feet away.
Yeah. And he's,
No, what? What? Tell me.
is he still
What?
blinded?
What?
He is still blinded, so you have
I mean,
advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have advantage on these 2 attacks.
I can't move like that right now.
You have advantage. So 15 plus
15 plus
8. Yeah, you're that,
I think
23.
that's gonna
I think that's
23 what?
Go ahead and roll your second attack just to see. 16 plus. Yeah,
16 plus 8. So yeah, I think
24.
both of those are gonna hit. I'm also gonna go ahead and flurry of blows.
You already used your bonus action, so you can't.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Just you could throw.
Keeping you honest.
You could,
I know. I'm
you
like,
could, you could throw a stunning strike on there though.
I will do that.
Do it.
Stunning strike. Yeah.
What? No, your damage. He'll have to roll against your stones, right?
So that's a 6.
Alright, so 15 bludgeoning from the punches, and then
Alright.
Constitution saving throw for the stunning
Yeah,
strike.
go ahead and
What was
roll.
your DC? Sorry.
What is your DC?
DC 15.
Con?
Yeah, right. DC 15.
Mm-hmm.
I think you'll make it.
I mean, he rolled a natural 1.
Oh.
Oh!
Yeah.
So that's 11.
Yes.
So he's stunned.
Yeah.
Stunned, blind.
Awesome. Good job.
Stupid giant.
Stupid
It's turned
giant.
into a
What are you
really bad
thinking?
day for him.
Yeah. Listen, that's his fault.
Don't go for this.
I mean, look at it from his point of view.
It's his fault.
You're sailing through his area.
I don't care.
He is stunned.
You can't own the air, dude.
But like, can you own the land?
And you're giant.
Yes,
Definitely
that's,
can.
that's the talk Roland was having earlier.
Trespassers. Can you even own land, man? Like,
Sky that we're flying through.
like, dude.
Are we flying in the sky, or is the sky flying
It's like
through
he was
us?
here before I got here.
All right, then that was Shay's turn. Okay. Okay, he is stunned. Crom, you are up, and he.
I want to jump on his face. Or
Quadruple
as close as
advantage.
I can get.
You just want to jump to
Make-
where Shay is?
I mean, you're fairly close. Make a acrobatics check.
Or athletics.
I mean,
Strength
I guess.
base?
Long jump?
I mean, it's just a long jump. Yeah, I guess you're not trying to bounce off anything or anything like that, or climb something. You're just trying to like push off of something with your legs. So go for an athletics check, yeah, sure.
Jump.
Which you're at advantage because
Plus
you're
6.
raging.
You're raging, you get advantage.
Yeah, so roll
Oh,
again to
okay.
see if you get a natural 20.
That was so
Okay.
15 plus 6, 21.
21, yeah, putting your leg up on the railing on the side and just pushing off into the darkness. You kind of calculate where you think it might be, and you're just gonna attack.
Yeah. So.
You are still
Reckless
hasted.
attack. And where would I be? Just down here somewhere by his feet.
I mean, you were pushing off straight towards him. So
Yep.
as far as I'm concerned, you're in the air still.
I'll catch you.
Slow mo.
Not really.
Like your first hit's gonna go somewhere around his shoulder,
Oh, okay. Okay.
but you'll be going lower as you hit more.
Reckless attack. Oh fuck. I don't think that hits.
But of course, let me think.
10.
As soon as you enter the darkness, you are actually also blinded, so you don't have advantage anymore.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
But recklessly,
Yeah.
so.
But reckless,
Yeah,
so yes. Yeah.
Even though.
So 9, 10, 10.
10
for the first swing.
10 first swing? Or 10 is the
10,
first hit?
10 to hit.
10 to hit does not hit.
Okay.
Second swing.
Well, and this is what they're doing?
Well,
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so all.
Yeah, all of them
All
are
of
at
them are
advantage.
All of them are advantage because you're reckless.
Yeah, if he wasn't also blinded. they
You
would
both
just be
being blind counteracts each other, and then you have reckless as well. So, yeah.
Because that'll give him
Okay,
advantage.
so that was my regular attack, and then this will be the one I get because of
No, you
this.
get 3 more. With each attack action, you get 2.
Because you get an extra attack action, not like an extra attack. You get a whole nother action.
Oh,
Which
okay.
has 2 attacks.
That's
So,
why
yeah,
I was
you got-
wondering why I got 4 instead of 3.
You get
So
4.
got 3.
Being
3
hasted
more.
as a barbarian really, and even as a fighter, it's even better.
I was gonna say, take 2 levels of
If
fire.
only
and let's do
you
this
hadn't
again.
lost. If only you hadn't lost Thomas.
Only I can't. Thing. 9 plus 6, 15.
This is Thomas's plan all along.
15?
It was just escape.
Does not hit. It barely misses.
I'm not
so you
doing
got 2 more
good.
attacks.
Your first, as you're swinging, you can feel the heat of his body around you, but as your first swing goes, as you're jumping, you don't feel. So make another attack.
Okay, that's better. 16 plus 6.
That'll hit. Your
Alright.
second one, as you come across really fast, you feel. Which weapon are you using? Using the Vindicator?
Vindicator.
As the metal of this just slab of steel cuts through just under the ribs, you hit.
can just re-roll one of the dice, or do I re-roll both? For
For-
savage or whatever that.
Great Weapon Master?
No,
Or no, what
it's
is it?
one of my things.
Two-handed.
Savage
Something-
attacker?
Yeah,
Or-
something. Yeah, savage attacker. Once per my turn, I can roll damage again. Re-roll my damage.
Yeah, so if you re-roll everything for your damage.
You said exactly the same.
I think so. It ranged differently. So
Alright, what do
it's
you got?
2d6 plus 5 plus my melee damage, so 6, 8, 9, 14. What?
14?
Maybe?
I mean, you're doing the math. I'll trust
yeah,
you.
14.
Alright. 14.
One more attack.
So right
Yeah.
as you're dropping down, you're still in the darkness, but you feel another one hit.
Now you're getting your
And
groove
just
back.
as you come out of the darkness below and you see the knees, you strike again. So this is
There's an arrow sticking out of it.
17.
17 hits.
15. 15 damages.
All right.
Bam.
And one more time. You hit as you land. Roll a dexterity check real quick.
I have the advantage.
Advantage on dexterity
Yup.
saving throws.
It's not a saving throw, it's
okay.
just a check.
Also though, I thought I had it for, saving throws. Oh, so, sorry. I'll take the low one. 13 plus 14.
14. Okay. So as you land, like you stumble a bit, and you kind of lean up against the giant leg in front of you, but you manage not to take any damage. As you look around the leg and you see Shay there, and she's like,
Yeah.
"Hey,
Hi!
it's good to see you."
Fancy meeting you here.
Nice hits! Slice it more.
Same.
And this kind of giant, this purplish giant blood is kind of like raining down on both of you as the
This is gross.
it's really gross. Chomp, you're up, and Quintus, you're on deck.
So,
You hear just this giant roaring in pain, just in this language that you can't understand, although you can understand it, can't you?
So you know
I can.
giant.
I do speak giant.
What's it
So
say?
you basically hear it just saying, "You cannot be here, you are trespassing on our land," and
Hey, we are here, so we can be here.
Oh, I speak giant also.
you also hear this.
This guy's yelling about property rights, you guys. I don't understand.
Also you hear him
What
yelling
are
things like,
property
"Shit," and
rights?
"Fuck, that hurt," and
Yeah. What are property rights?
This isn't land.
well, now
There's
looking
some
out, you can see that there's some type of land on the
Yes,
top
but
of these
we're in
clouds.
the air.
I tell him, you only own the mineral rights.
Oh, yeah.
That doesn't include territory on
And
top
if this
of
guy is a constitutionalist, you are.
Again, what are property?
We get into an argument about tort reform, and then I cast.
And then he crushes your skull with his hand too.
That's how those arguments
Yeah.
usually go.
They win. How far away?
Also, intelligence. We're on the same.
I'm like, hey,
Yeah, that's a good
I
question.
understand you.
Or maybe 40 people, that's 10 closer.
I am.
Okay, so I'm gonna cast Storm Sphere and use alchemical casting to change the element.
If you make it acid, I'll be okay.
And
But the shit might not be.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
what would he be?
That's a 20-foot radius, right?
Let's see. Storm Sphere, and I got Spell Sniper feat, so the range is doubled, and it creates a 20-foot radius sphere.
a strength saving throw.
And he makes a strength saving throw.
Within 5 feet of him. If he makes a spell, I can just actually hit him.
Hold up. Are we
All right,
flanking?
that's fine.
Right.
You
Wait.
are technically.
We are
flanking.
flanking!
At this point, as she lands,
Oh, I guess
you are
I'm
now
down
flanked.
there.
Yes.
Hey!
There's only so much advantage you could take off of one.
How?
Like,
Can't move
Double
forward.
advantage, not a thing. Just saying.
I
Yeah.
mean, one can.
It would be triple at this point, because
Yeah.
stunned, blinded, and flanking. And then you throw reckless on top, that's
Oh yeah, he
quadruple
was stunned.
advantage.
He's just like
Yeah. Yeah, he's just kind of reeling.
until the beginning of your next turn.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
So
Yeah.
that's good to remember because he was going to come up soon. All right, so Storm Spear.
Nope.
Right. So here's what I'm wanting
That was
to
a no
do
from me, dog.
is so the bludgeoning damage just from like the stormy sphere
Yes.
is a strength saving throw,
Okay.
and then as my bonus action, I can cause a bolt of lightning to leap out of the sphere,
As a bonus action, yeah.
and
Yeah, that's the part you were going to change.
right. So I'm wondering with my alchemical casting, it says when you cast the spell, you can do this to change the attack type or the damage type. So
I would say that would change both types of damage, bludgeoning and lightning.
And
this
would
case.
would I have to do it every time? Because it says after that I can use a bonus action to cause another lightning bolt to jump out.
Now,
on my
after that,
turn.
I think it's set.
Right.
And
That's
so
kinda
whatever
what I
you
was
set it as is set. Yeah.
thinking. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
Okay, what do you change it to?
I'm gonna change it to fire.
Okay.
He just seemed. I feel like thunder damage, lightning damage, maybe rain damage.
Rain
You know,
damage.
stormy type
Water
things.
damage.
He's not gonna.
rain.
Cold damage.
He's not. Yeah.
Acid
So-
or fire.
Psychic one of them?
Yeah.
I don't think psychic
No, I think it's
Like
got to
a-
be a
it has to be
elemental.
element. So I'm gonna change it
Alright,
to fire.
So it's a fire.
Firestorm.
So as you cast this, and that's a strength saving throw. I'm going to say for this, Shay and Crom, could you make a strength saving throw?
Yeah, 20-foot radius. That might engulf you guys.
Oh.
Does it?
It does.
Strength.
I'm going to say it does. I'm going to say it does. You know what? That's what matters.
Sorry.
Strength saving throw.
I didn't think about that.
I lose.
I didn't-
And what's the DC we're
Can't
looking
you?
for?
You can do like advantage or something on a saving throw, right?
Not on this.
It's
Well,
a strength.
it's
It's strength of
strength.
16.
18
Okay, I
plus
do have
8.
advantage on
realize you're
strength
taking it.
checks and saving throws.
Yes, you got 25.
I'm not doing it for the initial damage. I'm doing it for the bonus damage that I can do every turn after
Yeah.
this.
13.
So he saves.
I was like,
Right.
strength.
So he
Not good
saves
choice.
as-
Understandably, that was only going
What'd
to
you
be
roll?
2d6.
8? What'd you roll?
26.
All right, so you save. You take roll 2d6. Well,
Oh, wait,
he
yeah,
rolls
I'm
2d6.
gonna roll for this damage here.
I mean, you
Okay.
can take her roll too. It doesn't matter.
3.
You take 3 fire damage,
Okay.
and then you're gonna try to.
Oh yeah. And as my bonus action,
Because this is just the one creature.
right? As my bonus action, I'm gonna cause a bolt of fire lightning,
All right.
and then so that's
Just
a
fire lightning.
ranged spell attack.
Go for range spell.
Ew.
And you have advantage
Because he's
because of multiple reasons.
He's
but
just-
yeah,
he's
Okay.
really-
pick a reason.
it's a
You have
bad
advantage.
time.
That's much better. 21.
Yeah, that'll hit. Roll for damage. Was that 4d6?
4d6
Fire damage.
When it's his turn. When's the giant's turn?
And Quintus, you're up next.
He's not really, the giant's not really get a turn.
13 fire damage.
He doesn't have a turn now. 13 fire damage. All right. You hear once again just this like flash of fire happen and this kind of sizzling sound as rain is coming through the darkness into the fire, as well as flesh burning and this kind of gross smell starts.
Yummy.
So
It's kind of fishy.
I'm sorry about the
Yummy.
storm sphere because
It's okay.
well, it's gonna be there a while.
It sings Crumb a little bit, but she's doing it.
Yeah.
All right, Quintus, you're up.
Alright, I'm going
Quintus, you're up next.
to take all of my movement to get here so I can just see
first
over
one.
these 3-foot railings and see his, well-defined calves down there. Of which I will, at 4th level, cast Spiritual Weapon. With,
Okay, this large scalpel-like dagger thing appears behind the calves
going
of,
right for the Achilles tendon.
and just
I mean, yeah, that's what I've been doing, man.
and just slashes across. Go ahead and roll.
Nat 20.
Yeah, that'll hit.
So
Yeah.
that is
I mean, per the rules.
2d8 plus 5, and then I double the d8, right?
Double the D8, yes.
Oh, that the first one's an 8, so that's good. And the second one's a 6, so that is 14. Take that up to 28. That is 33 radiant damage to his ankle with my bonus
Can
action.
you do math real quick? Whew. All right. He, as it comes across, with just and this bright flash happens. You can see the legs sticking out of the blackness. It are fairly stumbly, but still not. Yeah, I mean,
Not falling yet.
he's definitely not falling yet.
And I guess I will, with my action, Toll the Dead. So just raise the order, the red order symbol, and there is an ominous, thunderous bomb from the clouds around us. Wisdom saving throw, DC 16.
Wisdom saving throw.
Yeah, I think I'll make it.
That's a 15 on his part.
Yeah, that is
Low.
2d12.
Start using another dice. All right, 2d12. Go ahead and roll.
6 and 10, so that's 16 necrotic.
Okay.
So almost 50 damage.
As this darkness gathers around the wound that was just made with this kind of almost see-through scalpel that
Yes.
cut across
Dripping.
dripping with blood. This darkness kind of oozes backwards into the wound,
Cut it
after the
open.
blood is, and you hear just this grunt happen. But certainly it's your turn. And roll on your offense.
I want to know why I did with the other couple of
17 hit.
17 will hit.
Probably
Is this
scared.
Eldritch
Yeah,
Blast?
it was awesome.
Ew.
One of which is a crit.
Oh,
Because I do have advantage.
I don't know if they knew we
Right.
were gonna go
Okay,
through this
you do
area
have
and why
advantage,
they
so,
didn't
yeah.
warn us.
Yeah.
All right.
Go ahead.
I want to speak to the navigator.
Yeah.
Speak to the navigator.
What's a navigator?
After all this, yeah.
Well, the flight of the navigator was an amazing movie. I don't know.
14.
What's a navigator? I'm
14.
dumb as a rock, okay?
Are you? Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're street smart, right?
Yeah.
That's
She's
it.
incredibly wise.
Okay.
Incredibly wise,
As
but
the
fair
usual
enough.
flash of this greenish yellow light flashes out of Cirithus's hands. That's both hits are 14 altogether. Or
Altogether.
altogether, yeah. It flashes into the darkness, and once again, just a couple grunts come out, and you hear you smell a little bit of burning flesh.
Fishy? Is it a fishy smell?
Still a little bit. It is. It is a little bit
We
like
mentioned it earlier.
there's a little bit of something very much of burnt seaweed or fish flesh that is coming up every time the storm giant is hit.
Goodness.
This is very disturbing for me.
Okay. Yes. Roland, you're up.
All right, I'm gonna shoot for his other kneecap this time.
At advantage.
Oh, good. Okay. That's 18. Oh.
That'll hit.
Okay, and then. Okay, 8, 11, 13, 14, 16 damage.
16 damage. All right. Sorry, I'm just trying to keep track of actual hit points. Okay. As you once again shoot in at the knees, one of them sticks right above the kneecap and sticks this time, and you can hear it as some of the flesh sizzles from the fire of the bolt, and yeah, you hit. Cool. So it would now be the giant's turn,
I said no.
but it's now just shaking off its
Oh.
stun. So Shay, it's your turn.
Loses a complete turn.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm gonna punch it.
Prom, you're on deck.
After I throw my
Who's gonna
shit
punch
at
it?
me.
Punch it.
I'm gonna punch it
Pop,
in the
pop.
Achilles.
Are you gonna?
I've watched too much. Did you watch the latest episode
Mm-hmm.
of Critical?
No, I'm way behind.
Here we
The
go.
last 2 episodes have been so good.
I'm almost caught up. I think I'm like 1.5 behind.
There is a major reveal at the end of 1 episode behind. So you're about to come to it.
I am going to flurry of blows. And they're all at advantage because I'm flanking.
You are very flanking, and plus
Yeah.
he's blind and blah blah blah. Like you're super advantage. Yeah.
14 plus 8, math not.
22.
Thank you.
That'll hit.
That's your first one.
Not 20.
I mean that one will definitely hit, but and double dice.
That was cockeyed.
Excuse me.
14 plus 8. No, it hits 2.
Yeah, 22. That's your fourth. That's you. Flurry of blows.
17 plus 8, that hits 2.
So 7 plus 8, 25.
Yeah, you hit with all the things.
Okay.
So you're just like,
Why don't you do your crit first? Just so
Yeah,
we
so-
yeah, roll.
Can I?
Just add everything up and tell me what.
Because I rolled double right.
You roll one and just double it.
I mean, I'll allow you to do either. You can roll 1 and double it, or you can roll 2 and take that.
So that's 3.
No.
3 doubled is 6, and then you get 3 more. So that's 8, 9, 4, and then each of those gets plus 5. So 13 plus 20. That's 33.
33.
Yeah, because each of her hits gets her strength added on.
Yeah,
which is
that
an
makes
instant
sense.
Plus 5.
I mean, that's fine. I'm just like confirming.
Yeah, it's that's so
Monks.
surprising. Yeah.
So yeah, that's
Go ahead.
20 plus.
13. So 33.
Yeah.
30. Okay, that's good. Next. Is that all of it all together, or is that
All of it all together.
Okay, so 33. With those hits, you just, just
I say
you
fuck
trip him up a little bit, and then you just like elbow to the knee, and
I just like sucker. I mean, I'm using a quarterstaff too.
Well,
I'm
you
just
can use
like.
whatever you want.
Yeah.
I know. I'm just like sucker punching his Achilles at this point.
You're just like, stop lightning our boat.
You fucking hurt me.
that almost did 50 damage.
Yeah. And
I mean, it was scary when he was able to do damage. Yeah.
Yeah, when he got hurt,
Um,
it was a frightening sight.
Crom, you're up. Chomp, you're on deck.
So I'm going to hit him, probably.
Yeah, you still have 4 attacks.
And got advantage on all of them.
Yeah.
You get hit with your bracers.
17. Oh yeah, I can.
Yeah.
Damn.
Get like
5, 6,
another
7.
one.
17 to hit.
I believe 17 hits.
Yes.
17 will hit.
Alright, ooh, yeah, that's good. 12, 13, 16
16 for
damage.
16 damage.
the
Alright.
first attack.
Yeah.
For the first attack.
People
talk about
are
monks, but-
wild. Yeah.
Mhm.
Hasted.
Really, it's fighters that are the ones.
Yeah,
Fighters.
that's true.
Mhm.
With all the
Yeah.
attacks and the action
21.
surge.
21 to hit.
21 to hit.
21 to hit. 12
Okay.
damages. Ooh, I hit it. Definitely.
Mhm.
And
Oh, yeah, because you're so hasted.
Yes.
'Cause you haven't been damaged.
14 damages.
14.
For the third one. And for the last hit.
Okay, yes.
You hit.
Hits
Both of us
him.
are just like standing there.
And I'm gonna re-roll that to see if I can get higher. Right? I don't have to take it, do I?
Yeah, with Savage Attacker, you can reroll a damage dice, right?
I mean, there's several reasons. You,
Okay, it's fine.
Yeah.
6, 8, 13.
Okay. So.
We're savaging this thing.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
We're
You
so
just
mad.
did. Let me think.
50, right?
Yeah.
Just try to defend us.
30.
Fuck
You just did 55 damage in one round
Yeah.
With just normal
with just
attacks.
normal, well, and hasted. But
Yeah,
still,
but
Still.
that doesn't quite get the horse through the dimension door level of damage, but still.
But you can keep doing
If
this.
I was Matt
you only
Mercer,
get the
I would
one
say,
horse.
how do you want to do this? But as you are just cutting across, just the blood coming out, you see the body slowly slumping out of the darkness, and eventually the darkness
Like a
dissipates
chopping a tree.
as the life leaves it, and
The
you see
darkness
this,
goes with them as it falls.
this giant form, just with this blue-gray skin, this green hair, just
Like a tree,
slumps
like a
in
chopped
front
down
of you, looks at you slowly as it's like reaches for you near its knee as it dies, and the light goes out of its eyes, and it's like just this little bit of lightning around its hands just like flickers and slowly dies out.
I'll join you in the stomping of the hand.
So as that happens, the
I'm gonna be real tired.
the storm around seems to lessen slightly. There's still thunder and there's still a storm, but it seems like that close thunder and lightning strikes that were happening all around seem to give way.
I'm gonna shadow step back onto that.
You're gonna shadow back, yeah, because we're now out of.
I'm gonna shadow step back onto that
You shadow step back on. Crom.
I have
Is the ship still moving?
I have
The ship is, well, at the moment it is not moving because it is still tethered, but as it, you can see the arm of the giant
Can I
still
just, like-
holding on to like start to pull as the ship is just a few feet off of what looks like the stone like portico that is just within the clouds, just a
Can
few
I
feet
shadow
off.
step while I'm holding
You could
the
probably,
end
you
of
might be able to jump onto it if you did it now.
So
Okay.
I mean, if I shadow
So-
step while holding the end of a rope, there should
Did you have a rope with you?
actually.
And is shadow step an action or is it a
Shadow Step's a bonus.
bonus action? Okay, so you could take the rope out and give it to her.
Now, if I'm gonna be honest and fair with haste, it says I
I
can't move.
Do have.
But I didn't take a movement on my turn.
You did not take a
so
movement on your
I
guess-
do have rope.
Because haste hasn't ended yet.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so you're still good.
Alright.
Once haste
I
ends, you'll
have
be
rope.
stunned for 6 seconds, but
I'm just gonna
Fully
like
exhausted
hold it.
Barbarian.
But,
I can jump. I can try to-
yeah,
just
try
jump.
to jump
Just jump.
right now
You got this.
and grab him beside. It'll be an athletics check.
which you
So,
have advantage
advantage.
on.
I got
You
one.
do have
You have
advantage.
advantage because you're raging.
So let's turn the frown upside down.
No. What was your
Again,
highest
it's-
number?
5.
5 plus.
5.
Still
Plus your
have the
athletics.
rope.
Plus
Athletics.
You're
That
saying
would
you
be
did the rope?
6.
I did the
11.
rope.
As you kind of try to
11.
scrabble at the side of the ship, as it's just kind of grazing the side of whatever land this is, floating in the clouds, you're unable to grab on anything. But there is a rope hanging that Shay left you before she
Hey.
Oh, thank goodness.
just appeared in shadow.
I'm
You can
there.
grab onto it.
Yes.
And yes, you grab on. Who is helping in the strength check
Somebody.
to bring Crom up?
I'll help you.
Yeah.
Okay, please,
I
both of you
mean-
make a strength check.
By the way, while this is happening,
That's
I'm doing something that's weird.
12 for you.
Yeah, it's kind of cocked.
15 for me.
15. As the both of you are hauling up, you are able to get Crom up as Crom, you're holding on for dear life on this thing because
We got
as
you.
the ship is starting to move now, you are no longer, there's nothing below you.
Oh, no.
There's just darkness.
I got you.
As the clouds kind of move away behind you.
I got you.
Um,
Crom.
We
and
got
you are
you.
part of the way up, and you're clinging onto the rope still. Make one more strength check, because you have not gotten her all the way up. She's
Oh, I'm not
she's
ready,
hefty.
guys.
She's got some weight.
16.
No, that's 8.
8.
I slipped.
16. 8.
If
I
I need to
slept.
die,
You're tired.
8 and 16
You did a lot of
is
punching.
20. Okay, so you're at this point you're able to just barely. They can get you up to kind of the railing, and as you
I'm
grab
tired.
on, you're able to kind of tumble over the side. The both of you collapse onto the deck. And as the rain still is kind of not as hard, but is still coming down on you, and the wind is beating against the side of the ship, you have managed to get past this, and the ship. Oh
We're
gosh!
dying.
Kind of, it continues on now, gathering speed out of the.
thank you guys.
That was a good going time use for a mini. It is now gathering speed as the Commodore comes up on deck, on the quarterdeck, and this says, "What happened? Where's my first mate?
He went over the edge.
What?
Lightning strike.
I don't know. I don't.
We saved y'all's asses. Like, we saved y'all's asses, pretty much. What happened.
We were a little busy to yell man overboard.
All right." And as he
You're
goes over to the
welcome.
side and looks over and just like shaking his head, hands on his hips, he's just,
Ooh, gratitude, man.
what was that? I
It's like a thunder giant thing. It smelled fishy.
smelled else. Are you trying to say something about me? As you
said
look
it
at
smelled
this
fishy.
shark-faced person,
I look back on
just
my...
like
It's water ganassi.
what?
Yeah, it's a water ganassi. Like,
What kind of? What do you mean by you people?
I said he. And what are you talking about? I just like point at myself. Use your special eyes.
Fair enough. I'm sorry. I'm just. There's been a lot going on.
Yeah, Quintus would have said, "Alright, everybody, it seems there was some sort of storm thunder giant, but
Yeah, we killed
luckily
it.
we took care of it. You can ask your crewmen up at the bow. I think they fired a couple shots into it."
At this point, like all the crew has come up on deck.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
They should be hoisting us on their
Central
shoulders.
Yeah.
Give me money.
I mean, the ballista did a little bit.
Yeah.
Give me money.
Give me money.
I want fame.
So we
I
are
want
moving,
riches.
right?
You are now moving,
That's our second
coming up to speed as the storm wind is blowing you. You're not quite to what. As you see the clouds kind of flying by, you see that's getting faster and faster as you go on. You're not quite up to top speed, but you're getting there again. Now that the giant isn't holding on to
So
you.
yeah, I sent you a text.
Where is my phone?
I don't know.
There it is.
I didn't hear it.
Just so you know, you all could have just cut the rope.
I thought about it.
There was that.
I thought
Cut
about
what
it.
rope?
I asked about the rope, and I was just like, we could target it with something, but I was like,
I considered dispel magic, but I wasn't sure if it was a spell.
yeah, that's why I didn't like attacking. 'Cause it's
Like,
like crackling with energy, and I'm like,
yeah.
how am I gonna? It's not just
And
like a roll.
I'd already hasted Crom, so I was kind of invested in the like barbarian
Concentration.
slaughter. Yeah. You know,
Good
Shay
investment.
didn't have much cognitive ability to be able to think.
Shay likes to jump onto things in precarious situations.
Hey.
So I knew where that was going immediately.
I was hoping banishment might just like solve the problem.
Yeah,
a little
I
bit.
thought that was
All
just
right.
gonna like nope this out of existence.
It was-
and
it
we
was-
just continue on our way.
It was kind of an all or nothing thing. This is either gonna just solve everything immediately.
As
or
within
do
a minute or
nothing at
so,
all.
you are continuing on, like, good, quarter mile, and then a half mile. You do hear a large thunder strike somewhere behind you, and then the storm seems to just fade. You seem to be left to just the rain and the wind. Your first mate, seemingly gone.
I wanted to have a conversation with him.
Well, that's
think
not
this
gonna
I
was
don't think
his
it's
plan.
necessary now.
You think this was his plan?
Yeah. He chose the route he knew was going to go right through there.
He said he liked ships.
I,
Back to the sea called him.
I mean, we saw him go over the railing. We didn't see him die. Just saying.
There
Is he
is-
a
He
powerful
may have
mage?
landed on some land.
You do
below.
know that there was like a
Thousands of
2,000
feet
foot
below.
I mean, he
There's
would
several
be
thousand
splat.
Yeah.
drop below you.
I wanted to be the one that drop his ass off this boat.
I'm not saying it's likely. I'm just saying we didn't see him die.
I'm just saying from
This
the height
guy.
that he fell,
This
he
guy.
probably went pretty under the water.
He did.
I don't know how well he can swim.
No, if you hit water from that height, the surface tension is like concrete. Like,
Oh, you know what I
just
wanted to do?
explode.
I mean,
It's true.
if you
It's true.
make yourself
Yeah.
into like a nice little air.
I wanted to push him off, right? Or get him to fall off
point
the
your
boat
Just fight your
and then
feet.
cast feather fall.
I was about to say,
so he
Your legs,
drowns.
like-
He might
Your
have-
legs
lives
go
on the ocean
into your
for
chest.
But he'd survive.
Ow. It hurts.
He might have had a ring of featherfall and a staff of
You know what?
inflatable
I
raft.
rolled, and we'll see what
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah, yeah, maybe.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
You know, fate
I'm
works
just
in
saying.
mysterious
Just point
ways.
your feet.
I'll just say he had a 5% chance of surviving, and I rolled,
Yeah,
and we'll see what happens.
Yep.
It's
it's not likely, but he's.
I'm sorry.
keeps-
I'm sorry. I know the
fine.
nerve.
That's so good.
In any case,
I'm glad I didn't get struck by lightning. That looked like it
Aren't
hurt.
we all?
Yeah.
Well, most of us.
Yeah. Aloha.
the night goes on.
Seems like it hurts.
The rain continues, although the thunder eventually fades into the distance. You find some rest if you'd like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like rest. Rest
Yeah.
is nice. Sleep is good.
I'm gonna attend to my splinter I got earlier.
Just
I'm
Ballistic.
gonna like.
it's right
vicious.
here. Could you just get the tweezers and
I'm gonna tend to my, you know.
lightning burns? You can see like down like part of your chest and into your shoulder and arm. There's like where the veins and nerves are. There's like these trails of black that are going through. That you think will heal, but it hurt.
Yeah.
Like, it may
Might
have,
make a
it
pretty
was
cool
close
scar.
to killing you if you hadn't dodged out of the way in time.
Yeah.
Makes you think.
So are we getting a long rest or a short rest?
I mean, this was only the night of the first day. For
I mean, if
brevity's
I can't sleep
sake,
now.
though, over the next day or so, you pass your way out of the wind and the rain, out of the storm.
I'm gonna make a suggestion to the navigator to mark this on the map. And to
Without
avoid it.
without the first mate there, the quartermaster is now in charge most of the time, with the Commodore having to come up on the ship on the deck every now and then to navigate.
Yeah, the
Being down a man,
cartographer.
they're a large enough crew they can get by, but it's a little somber the rest of the trip over. It's another 2 days a little more than 2 days that it takes you to come into Port Zune is where you're coming into.
I think they just like tie themselves off to things when they're on deck.
This was an unexpected, like sudden thing.
Yeah,
So
I guess that's true. Like they said, they don't normally encounter
This
crazy
was not, and
stuff.
as you talk to some of the crew, like this is something most of them have only heard of vaguely in
Giants
like
standing in the
songs.
clouds.
They've heard of
So
things
they'll
like
see
Storm
something.
Giants and the Storm Lord and things like that, but they've never encountered something like that. Mostly it's been pirates or just simple storms. The occasional they've encountered a wyvern before. Once they encountered a group of harpies, which are hard enough to get by, but they're fast enough that they were able to get out. But on the afternoon of getting into the late afternoon of the fourth day, you start to hear the seagulls again. Sky rats. And as you do, you start to see a little darkness along the horizon, and eventually you see mountains, especially off to the north and left. And there is, later in the day, a city in front of you. As you first start to see just the little haze around it, you come up as the boat starts to slow a little bit, as they start to bring in the sails a little. You see a good-sized city, at least 2 or 3 times the size of Stillben, with mostly these white stucco walls on most of the buildings, some that have been painted these bright colors occasionally, especially towards the shore, where a lot of them are smaller. These red tiled roofs of most of the homes, with a few large palace/castle kind of things rising above the rest as you go back into the city. Groves of trees, most of which still have green leaves on them. As you've gone more and more east towards this, you've felt the air get slightly warmer, as if the sea below you was radiating more heat. There's currents here that are carrying more warmth. And you come up to what is announced by the Commodore at some point here as it's Port Zune. We're almost here. You'll be wanting to get off then. We won't be going further than this. We'll be heading back to Taldor. As you come in, and as the ship sinks lower and lower, the port of Zune comes before you, a fairly good-sized city, clean-looking. As you come very close, the sound of blacksmiths, you can hear there's just a hammering going on metal on metal, from everywhere in the city. The calls of markets and different squares and things as the city starts flat and then rises up the side of a good-sized hill in terraces, large terraces. And there are different large buildings and markets as you go up, many small buildings interspersed. And as the sun is starting barely starting to set behind you, you see this new city opening in front of you, a very familiar sight to Shay. And yeah, I think that's where we're going to leave it for this week.
Shore excursions. All right, guys, I've signed us up for snorkeling and ziplining later.
There
Bring
is
us to all the tourist attractions.
Well, luckily you have a local with you.
Hey.
So that'll be interesting next time. Thanks for the giant.